Welcome, everybody, to the round of 16 of the Rogue City Rumble Group D. I'm Ninjube. With me is Keen. Keen, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How about you?
I'm doing all right. Waiting all week for this StarCraft-filled day. So what are we looking at today? We have Whip, Tai2, Boa, Red Duck, all trying to get out of the round of 16 into the round of 8. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, well, so this is the last group for anyone who hasn't been keeping up. So it'll be really interesting to see just the final two members of the round of 8 tonight. Whip versus Tytoon and Bo versus Red Duck. I mean, honestly, this group is kind of insane. Like, I would say Boa is probably the big favorite to advance, but honestly, like anything can happen. Everyone in this group is kind of a wild card. I mean, Red Duck is kind of a newcomer to the scene. He's actually Boa's brother, so it'll be interesting to see how they play against each other. I'm guessing they've played quite a bit throughout the years. And then Whip against Type 2. Whip is another newcomer to the scene, a very aggressive TVZ Terran player. And then Tai 2 is, everyone knows Tai 2 in North America. If you followed the scene for more than, a couple months, he's like the preeminent, like cheesy North American Zerg, but he's like the wild card of wild cards. He can literally beat anyone or lose to anyone. So really, really interested to see how this group pans out tonight.
Yeah, really exciting. We saw Boa. If you guys were watching this afternoon, in the BSL, we saw Boa go toe to toe with some of the best Terrans out there. I'm not going to spoil any results, of course, but I think anyone who saw those games can agree that Boa is definitely one of the best. And as for the rest of the group, yeah, like you said, I mean, it's all everyone's a bit of a wild card. Whip, Red Duck, sure, they're both good Terrans. Tai 2, you know what, Tai 2. I don't want to get into it too much, but honestly, I've been sitting on the Tai 2 hype train for a long time, and it feels like we still haven't left the station, So I'm waiting for Tai 2 to really show us what he's made of.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about Tai 2 is he kind of went inactive for the last year, maybe year and a half. I'm not sure exactly when it was that he went inactive, but I know he's still in school, so he's been dealing with that. And he hasn't been playing much Brood War recently, but in the last 2 or 3 months, I think he started coming back a little bit and getting a little active again, started laddering again. And he's kind of dipping his toes back into the competitive tournament scene in the Rogues Gallery events. So, yeah, I would really love to see if he's actually back in form or if he's still kind of just treating this as like a side, hobby where he's not playing to his fullest potential. But regardless of his form, I still think he's a threat. And so here, yeah, his opponent Whip, like I said, relative newcomer to the scene, a Korean-Canadian Terran. He did play for Team Canada in Nation Wars. I think that was maybe one of the first big tournament events that he played in, honestly. He had a pretty good record, I believe, in the Nation Wars. And then we see he has played some of Rogues Gallery events previously. He unfortunately lost to Raz in our Foul Play in A series, but he did go undefeated in Turf Wars. Have you seen much of Whip's Terran?
Well, yeah, it's right there on the screen, man. He beat me and Jiraiya in Turf Wars. So, yeah, I've seen it. It's pretty decent. But, then again, I'm a potato, so it doesn't mean a whole lot. But, yeah, Whip definitely seems good. I've seen his TVZ a lot in the qualifier matches, I believe. Very solid. I think it was him versus Hawk at some point. Where he had a very strong showing. I think Hawk ended up winning or something, but yeah, he's a very good player. I'm really excited to really get to know his play style more and him as a player. I think it's always fun to see more Terrans come up, especially for me,
Yeah, definitely. I would love to see at least one of the Terrans in this group get out tonight. considering there's a relative dearth of Terrans in North America. So seeing up and comers start to succeed more is always exciting.
Yeah, and here we, I don't know how accurate this, I don't know how accurate this portrait is, but here we have Tai2 with the purple pink eyebrows and spiky beard and crooked nose and somehow a mustache in there. Yeah, on USAA, he played in... No, he hasn't played in any Rogue Galleries event just yet, so it'll be exciting for him to play in our events now. Multiple first place finishes, BSL 8 Ladder Open 2 and 3, 2019 LA LAN. Oh, okay, that's nice. I've heard about those. Haven't been myself. Yeah, what do you think of his accomplishments?
Yeah, so as you pointed out, he hasn't played any Rogues Gallery events yet because our organization is relatively new to the scene as well. And like I said, he for most of 2020, I believe, was fairly inactive. But we do see he has a long track record of just placing really, really well in foreign competitive tournaments. He was one of the few players who kept playing after StarCraft 2 came out and really rose to prominence in sort of the dark ages between the beginning of StarCraft 2 and when StarCraft Remastered came. So it's sort of along with Michael, it's really interesting to see him come back to form. And yeah, it looks like we'll be jumping into our first match now. I'm really interested to see what happens.
Yeah, with versus Tai2, we are on Shakura's Temple. Let's get it going.
And in top right, it looks like we have our red Zerg bottom right, we have our white Zerg Tai2.
Yeah, and in the top right, it's our Terran player, Whip. So, yeah, Shakura's Temple, TVZ. Is there anything in particular for you that sticks out?
I don't know. I think it's a fairly standard TVZ map. I mean, I say it every cast, but one of the things that kind of bothers me personally as a Zerg player on Shakuras in both ZVT and ZVP is the pretty short rush distances. So if you're going for a 2-attribute build, for example, it can get a little hairy sometimes if the Terran is going fast Academy, 2 racks and really tries to push the aggression early and hit a timing at your natural before the mutas pop, which I know Whip is pretty fond of in general, and his build orders, opening build orders and early timings are very crisp.
Yeah, sure. We see right now, I think that's a depot. Depot, I'm wondering if he's going to wall with that. Yeah, I think, yeah, that's a free wall there. I think you just put the racks underneath it, yeah, and that's link tight. I wonder if we're going to see anything or if he's just going to use that to simply be safe against, the possible Tai2 shenanigans that he's known for.
Yeah, well, we know that Tai2 is kind of an unpredictable player, right? And Whip knows this as well. So, if Whip is doing it just for safety, I think it's a good idea. Or if he's just doing it to hide a 2-port Wraith or some kind of mech build early, it looks like he is going for tech. So yeah, if this is a 2-port Wraith or something, I think that would actually be a great choice for Whip to go for, because if Tai2 has some special build plans, most likely 2-port Wraith would kind of put a damper on whatever Tai2 is planning, because you have to react to 2-port Wraith. You can't just do whatever you want.
Absolutely. 2-port Wraith is definitely one of my favorite builds. It's so much fun to watch and even to play. It kind of, reverses the dynamic in the matchup, right? You're the Terran with the flying units harassing the Zerg. Of course, until the real, air units show up, and then it's a little bit more back and forth. But it's definitely fun to watch TVZs that open up with 2-port Wraith. That being said, I'm not sure if Whip does play 2-port Wraith. I haven't seen him. All the games I've seen from him in TVZ, at least, have been just bio play, SK Terra and all sorts of things. So it's exciting to see. I'm really excited to see what he's going to go for here.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I've ever played against Whip going 2-port Wraith either. I know he is fond of going like 1-1-1 builds, so this could just be like a 1-base 1-1-1. But either way, yeah, I'm really interested to see what he pulls out.
Yeah, and we see he kept his SCVs on gas. Not anymore. Yeah, no, okay, he took them out, so maybe not 2-port Wraith. I think otherwise you'd be just keeping the gas going. Otherwise, it's very gas intensive. So probably just a 1-1-1 or something like that. Meanwhile, Tai 2 looks like he's just going 2 hatch, probably Muta. For now, it's just 2 hatch taking into lair. So yeah, Whip getting ready to take his expansion, and we have to wait a bit more to see what's gonna happen in this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is looking like it's just gonna be a 1-1-1 build here. A little surprising to me, actually. Like, I would have liked something, I guess, a little more on the extreme end. Like I said, you know, I would have really liked 2-port Wraith. The thing that makes me a little nervous is that, you know, we all know that Tai 2 is known as kind of like a cheesy sort of like all-in player, right? And I do know that 1-1-1 is pretty sort of it's
flimsy,
it's vulnerable. It's vulnerable
Yeah.
early. If you don't react perfectly and micro everything perfectly, and here we see Tai 2 is actually going for a 2-hatch Hydra Den. I'm guessing 2-hatch Lurker.
Yeah, so he saw the wall, right? So I think he knows that it's probably not going to be bio play. So the Hydras. So, I mean, tell me a little bit about how a Zerg can respawn, right? He can go, because I've seen Zerg go 4 Hydras and just get a couple Hydras to defend, possibly against, you know, the Wraith that's going to show up. Or sometimes they just go straight to the Spire and just play 2-hatch Muta, like, you know, like it's just a normal bio opening from the Terran. So yeah, so tell me a little bit about those 2 options.
Yeah, well, with what Tai 2 is doing right now, well, first of all, I want to point out, because our observer Tim was furiously pointing out that Whip is actually making 2 armories, which is very unusual.
Yeah,
2 armories. I mean, so obviously this is going to be a Goliath build, right? And I guess he's going for... I'm totally unfamiliar with the 2 armory mech build. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
I don't think that's it. That can't be a
maybe
thing, right?
Maybe he did it by accident. He's just nervous, or
I think so. I mean, if you make 2 armories, you'd expect them to both be spinning at least or something. I mean,
yeah. I mean, we see Tai 2 already has Overlord speed, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like this is actually, I'm guessing it's going to be either a Hydra drop, but more likely it's probably going to be okay, this is a lot of Hydras. This is actually crazy. I wonder if this is going to be like a really early just mass Hydra drop rather than even Lurkers.
Yeah, I mean, the Hydras are pretty strong. I know we're kind of going on about 2-port Wraith a little bit, even though that's not what we're seeing here, but you can make a bunch of Hydras and just go and attack. Sometimes it catches the Terran off guard. I mean, you know, if he just has a couple of Vultures or just a few Goliaths even, I feel like it can be very strong, but Whip has a bunker, the Goliaths are just behind it. So I'm not sure if just attacking straight up with the Hydras would do anything. But like you said, with Overlord speed, it might just be a drop in the main or something like that.
Yeah, this is... honestly, I think Whip is in trouble here. I think he's really playing on the back foot. He looks like he's a little nervous. As we saw, the two armories aren't even spinning right now. And it's like Whip is trying to cover every possible base, right? He built, you know, a turret at his front. He's preparing for like a Lurker bust, but
yeah,
he has no idea that this drop is coming.
Yeah, I think he needs tanks right now with siege mode. That's usually how you handle. Okay, he does have a tank with siege mode, so it's not too bad. Now let's see if Tai 2, only got speed maybe to clear mines to make his way to the natural, or if it's gonna be drops. Looks like it's gonna be drops. That sweet slurping sound under the Overlord means that we're gonna see a drop coming in, and he's going. I'm not sure if Whip's gonna react. He needs to react quickly. If you let everything drop, it's gonna be messy. Let's see what happens.
This is the perfect spot for Tai 2 to drop to. It's going to be impossible for him to try to push up this ramp.
Yeah, it looks like he is gonna. Yeah, it's working really well for Kite too. Just picking out these Goliaths one after the other. The tank moves into range and sieges. Meanwhile, we see some SCVs going down on the right side. Yeah, and he's just gonna Kite move away from the tank, and now it's looking pretty bad for Whip. A lot of damage being done. Meanwhile, Kite 2 taking a third as well. Oh, the tank comes out and it's gonna get picked off right away. What is it? Yeah, it is. Oh man, this is when you're fighting with SCVs, man. It's not going well. The factory goes down. It's a nightmare right now.
Yeah, he has no Goliaths left. This tank is going to get sniped. This was perfectly executed by Taito, and GG comes out from Whip. That was just a build that he was not expecting, obviously. And probably going into it a little nervous, like we said, Whip is a newcomer, and that's a rough first game for, your debut in this tournament.
Yeah, definitely. I think you could see the nerves, but also maybe it was like a last minute decision by Whip to wall, saying like, oh, I have the top right, I can wall here for free. And then maybe he just went into, this 1-1-1 or mecha build opening without being overly familiar with it.
I don't personally know how much he prepared that specific build. But yeah, a little awkwardly performed for sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure also at what point he realized it was Hydras and not Mutas, because obviously Mutas come in and you have Goliath, it's, you're fine. But now, anyhow, let's move on. Now we have Boa versus Red Duck. It's going to be on Shakura's Temple again. So Boa, I mean, a lot of things to say. I think he's definitely one of the best Protoss players out there, relatively new to the scene. I think that's fair to say. 10-2 map record in foul play. So he beats Striker, Dragon, Zerg, as Dragon plays ZVP, Hawk. Only dropped 2 maps to Hawk. So, but every match was a PvZ. Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, Boa, since he's come on the scene, he's been doing really well in all of our Rogues Gallery events and every North American event. Essentially, he's been doing well in, he's playing in the round of 24 in BSL, and he got to the round of 8, I believe, or round of 6 maybe last season of BSL. So he's definitely proven himself to be one of the preeminent foreign Protosses out there. And yeah, as we see, his PvZ is just godlike. Honestly, he just kind of runs over people who aren't prepared for his really crisp early game timings, and his army movement and his micro is just really, really stellar for a foreigner. But yeah, obviously tonight he'll be playing PvT, and he has probably been practicing a lot for PvT because he's in an all-Terran group for BSL. So yeah, I'm guessing he's probably pretty well prepared for that as well.
Yeah, really. He must have. He must be really. He must have sharpened his PvT knife, so to speak. Of course, we're not going to spoil BSL, but I think he's definitely ready for this. Now, Red Duck, on the other hand, is Boa's brother, of course. 1-3 map record in foul play versus Hawk. Hawk, obviously, no slouch there. So 1-3, not really indicative of Red Duck's ability. 1-1 record in Turf Wars. What else can we say about Red Duck?
Yeah, I mean, just like his brother, he's very new to the scene, and he's. I think obviously he hasn't proven himself as much. He attempted to qualify for BSL Pro League, but I think he was just. It was insanely competitive to qualify this season mainly because of the the ladder reset and everything kind of threw a wrench in everything. So I think he may be playing in Gosu League. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I think he ended up around 2150, 2200 MMR on the BSL ladder. So he's definitely a competent player. I don't think I've actually seen. Okay, yeah, he did TVP Unco. I don't know if I remember that game, but maybe it's. He did lose to Unco, so maybe it's not his strongest matchup. I mean, Unco is a very good PvT player, but it is his kind of off-race matchup. Anyway, we'll be jumping into our second game here in just a second.
Yeah, Boa versus Red Duck. Unlike, yeah, there we go. There's the right overlay. So Boa versus Red Duck. We're still on Shakura's temple. Let's get this started.
And it looks like top left we have our Terran Red Duck.
And in the top right, Brown Protoss, it's Boa. So, TVP on Shakura's, I assume I'll try to talk a little bit of, I'll try to fill in some time here. It's interesting. It's a map where, once you're down at your natural and you want to go up anywhere from your natural, you have to go up ramps. You have to go up a lot of ramps to go into the main area. However, you can kind of avoid the main area of the map. If you scout, you'll notice that your scout only goes up into the main area for just a brief moment. And so there's a lot of movement. There's a lot of possible movement on really the outskirts of the map, which personally I think is a little bit annoying for Terran, as the Protoss can constantly kind of give you the runaround and whatnot. Other than that, it's a fairly normal map, I would say.
Yeah, as a Zerg player, I tend to only watch Zerg VODs when I get the chance. So I haven't really seen a ton of PVTs on this map, but it does definitely look like it would be frustrating to play on, especially if you're not really on top of things and you don't have flash or light level mechanics. I mean, I guess it should be easy to secure your third expansion, right? Because you can kind of just turtle there, but then Protoss just kind of has free reign to they can go wherever they want. It's pretty open, so they can keep high ground. They can I feel like Protoss should be in control on this map.
Yeah. You can take your third without too much trouble and kind of sit further away from the ramp. Make sure you don't attack Protoss units that are still in the high ground and whatnot. But yeah, also one thing to note, at the back of the natural there's more space than usual, and so Reaver harass might be a little bit more annoying than usual. Yeah, anyway, we'll see if any of those things come into play this game. So far we have a Gasix expand from Red Duck. Meanwhile, Boa just going for a normal gate core, whatever you want to call it, Dragoon opening.
Yeah, we see his core isn't spinning yet. So, okay, it just started spinning. Does that indicate Zealot first, or is that at regular timing?
I think that seemed relatively good. You can get, usually it starts, you can get either the Dragoon first or the Range first if you want, but it doesn't really mean anything. If the earliest at which you can start a fake upgrade after going for a Citadel or something is 255. But of course, Red Duck doesn't actually know that. But he sees a Dragoon out at 315, and that's very normal. So far, I don't think Red Duck is suspicious of anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one thing I am curious about is the fact that these two are brothers. I assume they play with each other fairly often, so I'm wondering if there's going to be kind of a gentleman's agreement here to both just play through a standard game and not do anything tricky to each other, or if they're going to try to undercut each other and take advantage of all the knowledge they have of how they play.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I mean, maybe you would be more inclined to cheese, since if you practice, you're probably going to go for macro games most of the time, and then so if you play a real game, maybe you'll bust out some cheese that you typically wouldn't use in practice. I'm not sure, but a second SCV gets in, and that's really nice. If you're able to see the core spinning and confirm, is it Robo? Well, he saw the Robo, so he knows what it is exactly. So Red Duck feeling very comfortable. Boa not really even pressuring the bunker of the Gasix expand just yet. So Red Duck so far in a pretty good position, I would say.
Yeah, it's got to feel pretty nice as Terran when you get the racks expanded and there's no real Zealot pressure or anything. I mean, I'm sure it's not an insurmountable advantage, if you are able to 14 CC without any problems, but still, it's got to be really nice to just have that level of comfort.
Yeah, and we see the Dragoons heading over. They're going to start hitting the bunker. Of course, going to drain a few minerals from Red Duck's economy. Meanwhile, Boa's expansion is up and running on his side of the map. So we saw 2 factories, I think, from Red Duck, so no dropship play follow-up. Just a good old macro build. I hope we're going to see a tank coming up soon. I assume he started siege first. That's very typical to get the Dragoons off your bunker as soon as possible.
Yeah, I guess what would the alternatives be? Like, if do you normally see Terrans ever skip siege and just try to go for early vulture harass without dropships?
Oh no, I meant more in with respect to the tank. I think you get siege first, and then you start the tank instead of getting the tank and then starting siege, just to get the quickest siege. Since of course siege upgrade takes longer than a tank to build. Yeah, so the tank's coming out now. Everything looking pretty normal. Let's see what Boa goes to after his expansion. Usually, at the pro level, what you see is not a quick third base, but rather a Reaver follow-up. That's usually what we see. So far, no commitment just yet. Let's see what this probe makes. Come on. Alright, yeah, so there's the Reaver. Pretty typical. I think if you go fast third Nexus, there's a chance that you just die to the Terran push off of 2 factories. So I think that's why we usually see pros go for Reaver.
That's interesting. So even 2 factories would be enough to punish a greedy Protoss.
Yeah, I think that's how it is. If I recall correctly, when Gas Expand really became popular, I think we saw pros kind of go for like a quick third Nexus, but then they would just get dumpstered by, you know, a sort of like 5 tank push with vultures with both upgrades and a bunch of marines, and just walk across the map, and you can't have enough as the Protoss player at that moment. So now they just go Reaver, and then they just expand a little bit later. It's also easier to get your Reaver in and do some damage against Gasless Expand, I think. Yeah, since the armory is not quite up yet, but I'm not too sure about that though.
No, yeah, that makes sense to me. And just having that Reaver and being able to harass a little bit. I mean, he's already getting full vision of the Terran base with the observers, but like, say he was denied a little bit, like having that Reaver flying around, it's just the added security of like scouting plus having the Reaver in the shuttle rather, to like ward off any early Terran aggression. Yeah,
that too. It helps a lot versus early pushes, since you probably won't have Goliaths in their attack range, right? You'll have a lot of vultures, and you know, Reavers can actually dispatch of vultures very quickly. So for now, looks like Boa's just gonna take a little bit of map control back with his observer. Yeah, I mean, a little bit of a lull in the game. I wonder if Boa's probably gonna go over here and try to harass. Turret's already up though.
Yeah, and it does sort of seem, I mean, I'm not super knowledgeable about Terran build orders, but this seems like a pretty, you know, forward-thinking build, I guess, or forward-looking rather. Like, Red Duck's probably going to try to take a third relatively early. He's not going for like a 2-base timing, right?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, 4 factories is fine. Yeah, there's not going to be any timing attack from Red Duck, I think.
So it does sort of seem then like they're both just playing extremely standard against each other.
Yeah, I would say there's really nothing overly you know, special going on here. I don't see any mind games or sick plays. I mean, just vultures harassing, looking for probe transfers, putting a few mines, and Boa clearing them. We did see Red Duck go start to double up his turrets, which means he's expecting shuttle speed, or, you know, shuttle-centric play, but so far Boa's just hanging back with his shuttle. I'm surprised. Maybe he just saw the turrets everywhere with his observer and decided that there's not much to do.
Yeah, that makes sense. Surprisingly, Red Duck is keeping up pretty well with Boa on supply. I mean, I always kind of expect Protoss to like kind of rocket ahead at least like 20 to 30 supply of Terran in the mid game. But I guess it's that like early Raxa that, you know, really the economy just kicked in and he's kind of just killing it right now.
Yeah, it's definitely his opening build, but also going up to 4 fact. I don't play gasless expand very much, so I'm not too sure, but you don't necessarily need to go up to 4 fact, I think, if you want to take your third. It depends also on what the Protoss is doing. I think, because Boa didn't go for a very quick expansion, Red Duck maybe decided to power up a little bit more on 4 factories before taking his third. Um, yeah, but I mean, so far it's so standard, to be honest.
And it seems like we don't see any like Arbiter tech coming out, right? So we see a couple shuttles. So it looks like Bo is actually going to go for that sort of new trendy Storm, mass shuttle sort of thing, I guess.
It definitely seems that way. It's definitely, like you said, the new trend in PvT is to go shuttle, a lot of shuttle harass, multiple shuttle with speed, and also storms instead of arbiters. Not that you can't make arbiters ever, of course. You can throw them into the mix a little bit later on, but yeah, I mean, storms are just incredibly strong. I'm surprised it took Protoss players that long to realize how busted it is. I mean, you just fly in, drop them, kill all the SCVs, and I mean, whatever.
Have you faced that style a lot on ladder? How do you feel about it? I mean, I guess it sounds like you're not a huge fan of it going.
I mean, it's very hard to stop. That's the thing. Speed shuttles are, you get 2 turrets, sure. I mean, 2 turrets will kill the shuttle if it flies over, but the shuttle will get to drop pretty much everything. And it has speed, so it comes in real quick, and it starts storming your SCVs. And your SCVs, I mean, yeah, sure, they have 60 HP, haha, they're so strong. But honestly, they die pretty quickly too, so it's hard not to lose SCVs to that. But then again, I mean, the Protoss does lose a bit of investment as well, right? So it kind of slows down the game a little bit. It drags on. It's not an era of like, 2-1 timing push at 12:30 anymore. It's really scrappy, longer games. Yeah, at least that's my take on it.
Well, I mean, I guess it's actually good then, because I felt like, honestly, I mean, just as a player, I've been thinking about maybe trying out Terran a little bit more, but TVP always struck me as kind of boring, especially at like lower levels that I would be playing it at, where I would kind of have to just stick with like, strict 2-1 timings and that sort of thing. It just seems kind of like a little boring to me.
You definitely don't have to stick to 2-1 timings. In fact, I mean, like I said, most games just go pretty nuts, and like 2-1 timings don't really matter all that much. You can also turtle up more and go up to 4 bases and 3-2 instead before really pushing out. I mean, there's loads of ways to play. But hey, hold on, here's an attack from Bo. It looks like he's just gonna shove all these units down this ramp. Good setup by Red Duck. He has so many tanks in the back, and the Reaver does get a good scarab off. There's a lot of units still, but oh man, the Zealots, there's so many Zealots, and oh man, Red Duck's losing a lot of tanks.
Yeah, wow, this is insane. I thought Red Duck was actually going to clean this up for a while, but the units just keep coming from Boa.
Yeah, it's really hard. This is the time where it's incredibly hard to defend your third when you take it. It's a moment where in time where the Protoss kind of shoots up in supply, like you were saying, and the Terran doesn't have all that much yet, and doesn't have maybe all of his upgrades yet. So it's actually it's hard to hold. And yeah, I think one attack upgrade for Red Duck, so it's really hard to hold off that many Protoss units.
That was his +2 just finished. This is like literally the perfect timing for Boa to have attacks. I'm actually amazed.
Yeah, it's definitely a good Protoss with a good build. If he just decides to attack you with everything when you're trying to take your third and you're just kind of like sitting there, it can roll you over if you don't have the best macro and also the best like defensive setup. I'm not sure. I don't think Red Duck had any buildings there, but I know that you can build a couple of turrets or a depot there, so that might have swung things in his favor. But right now it's not looking good.
Yeah, I mean, Red Duck is doing the okay. We see GG called. I was gonna say he's doing the typical Terran thing where he just sits and tries to salvage things for as long as possible. But
yeah,
you saw the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I thought that his setup was really pretty good. I mean, yeah, he could have had some depots there, I guess, but like, I was actually surprised when I saw Boa use a storm to clear vultures and mines. But I guess, wow, yeah, that was just an amazing attack to me.
I mean, as long as you storm more than like, you know, 1 or 2 units, it's a good thing, honestly. I mean, you clear the mines, you clear the vultures, and then, you know, the zealots run straight into the tanks, and from there it's I mean, it's game over.
So it looks like our winners match will be a best of 3, starting with Eclipse, Tai2 against Boa.
Yeah, so I think I don't know. I don't know if I would call them the two favorites, but the two strong players make it to the winners match. Um, any prediction? Who do you think? You think Tai2 can take down Boa?
Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised either way, because Tai2 is like, if you look up wildcard in the dictionary, you see a picture of Tai2. He can just pull off like the most insane things. But at the same time, I think Boa, his PVZ is really strong, and I think his like early game micro, his aggression, and just his timings and everything are really on point. I think sometimes where he struggles a little bit is like in the late game, if he doesn't get, a good advantage early, or if he doesn't hit the timings that he was aiming for, then he kind of falters a little bit in the late game. But I don't think that's going to be an issue against Tai2. So I actually think he's really, really favored here.
Yeah, yeah, and we saw his PVZ record was pretty impressive on his player card. So, meanwhile, Tai2 waiting for him to get into the game so we can get going with this. Yeah, Tai2. I mean, we'll have to see. I guess he's gonna pull out some builds, and maybe he'll catch Boa off guard. It's a best of 3 though, right? So, do you think Tai2 has enough builds in his bag to take down Boa?
I think Tai2 definitely has enough builds in his bag of builds for a best of 3. I mean, the question is, yeah, like you said, the longer the series goes, like regardless of how many builds he has, I feel like it's just gonna be better for Boa. Tai2 is coming off a period of inactivity. I mean, I think Boa hasn't been, like, he's had lulls. The thing about the foreign community, right, is that everyone has little points in time where they can't play as much because they get busy with IRL stuff. But I do think that Boa has been more active in the last year than Tai2 has. So it's just like all the factors are kind of weighing against Tai2 here. If it was a best of 1, I would say Tai2 has a much better chance of pulling out a win. But yeah, Boa is definitely the big favorite for me.
Yeah, I think I would agree, but you know what? Maybe harnessing the power of the burrito, Tai2 can pull off a couple of wins here. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I hope he's well fed for this.
We're just about ready to get the game going here, guys. Tai2 versus Boa. We're on Eclipse, best of 3. Let's get this game going.
That was definitely one of the best parts of the group selection for sure.
Yeah, Burrito Gate. We'll come back to that in a second here. It looks like we have Boa in the top right as the Peach Protoss.
Yeah, and we have a Red Zerg Tai2 in the bottom left. Yeah, I mean, even going back to the group selection, like, even Tai2 must have realized that Boa is like the preeminent favorite, not just in groups, but probably in this like entire tournament to win. And he kind of spite picked Boa a little bit. So, Tai2 respects Boa for sure.
Oh yeah, I think Tai2's, he's a big troll, but he's not an idiot. I think he knows who he's up against. And
yeah, for sure. I mean, Tai2 is really one of the smartest Zergs in the foreign Brood War community. People will call him cheesy or all in, but honestly, you can't have the amount of success that Tai2 has had if you're like a one-dimensional player, or if you're if you don't think things through.
Yeah, definitely. He's not some sort of like a low B rank cheeser Zerg that can't make it past that kind of potato rank. So yeah, the ZVP Eclipse. Do you have any thoughts?
I mean, yeah, I don't know if you've looked at the spawn bang stats or its spawn match stats for like the last few months since Eclipse has kind of become the most standard of maps in both the foreign scene and in Korea, but like among Korean pros and semi-pros rather, I think it's like a 42% win rate for Zerg against Protoss.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not the greatest map for Zerg. It's really hard to expand past your third base. For me, like it's just a struggle because Protoss can come from so many directions, depending on which base you take. Usually it would be like the 9 o'clock, which you would try to take as your fourth right. And, Protoss can hit from the top, they can hit from the bottom, but then the rest of your bases are still exposed.
We have a little cannon rush here coming up, possibly. I think he built a fort, right? I wasn't paying attention. Yeah, okay, so there you go. There's the cat. What?
Ooh.
Is it all pylons? Oh my god. Oh my god. Did he build a pylon by mistake and now there's a drone and he can't build it? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Another probe. Oh my god. What is going on?
I was going to say this is a really good setup for cannon rushing because it's really hard to get more than one drone in there. But yeah, I guess he messed up.
Yeah, I mean, anyway, I think yeah.
That is really rough.
Yeah, that is pretty rough. Now he just has a scouting pylon, I guess. Getting a gateway in his nexus. Yeah, all right. Well,
Great start for Type 2 here, for sure. Starting out with an advantage, definitely good. Yeah, I don't know. That was really weird.
Yeah, and you could tell he was a little bit flustered after that. He had another probe come in, and one of his probes, he had like a couple probes as his natural, just sitting there in bizarre locations. Yeah, I mean, but anyway, let's see if Boa can kind of clear his mind and kind of like reset his brain, because it definitely crashed there, and kind of get into a mid game without too much of a disadvantage.
Yeah. On the plus side, Bo was able to get a probe in there and scout that Tai2 is going lair. One thing I will say about Boa is that, he is, we see a Den already, so I'm wondering if we're going to see some interesting like early Hydra drop builds again.
Yeah, or just Hydra busts. I haven't seen a lot of Hydra busts recently in ZVP. I'll be interested to see what's going to happen.
And we see Boa sending out his first zealot, trying to, get some more scouting, just trying to force lings. But Tai2 made 6 lings, so yeah, he's just heading back now. Anyway, I was going to say, Boa is still, kind of a newcomer to the scene, right? So I feel like we have seen him play a little, like, more shaky than you would expect a player of his level 2 in BSL, for example. So I think he still struggles with nerves a little bit, and that could have been, why we saw what we saw with the pylon instead of the cannon there.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, even for me, I mean, when you play a quote unquote serious match, you can kind of feel the nerves, even though you think to yourself, this is kind of stupid. Why am I getting nervous for this CPL match or whatever? But yeah, it definitely seems like maybe he was just trying to go too fast, and he ended up building a pylon 3 times instead of pylon cannon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's an advantage that Tai2 has going into this too, because he just has so much competitive experience. He's played so many tournament games.
Yeah, and we see the first Hydras come out, and they're gonna make their way across the map. So what can you tell us about Tai2's build? We see 9. I forgot how many drones we had at natural, but we have 1 drone at the third.
Yeah, 9 drones.
991.
Well, so this isn't super all in, but I'm wondering if maybe it's not even going to be a drop. It's just going to be, like you said, a Hydra bust. and like he went lair first. So this is actually really hard for Bo right now. He's just adding these 4th and 5th cannons right as the Hydra's already at his doorstep. So he's really vulnerable right now. And
yeah, he seems like he didn't see he had no way of seeing the. Oh my god, he's gonna jump into the cat. No, he's just gonna go for the Zealot for now. I was gonna say, I was wondering how late Boa realized that it was Hydra then.
I think he's just dead. Yeah, So it was just a mind game. Taitu let Boa see the lair, and then he went 3-hatch Hydra. Yeah, and I think. I mean, Boa has 2 cannons. He has 2 gates, but pretty soon it's just going to be 1 gate. I mean, Taitu should have a stream of Hydras coming in here.
We just saw a few drones pop out, right? And he's going up to 5 hatches. So is it one of those? I make a bunch of Hydras to make you think it's an all-in, but then I switch back into eco, and then I end up way ahead.
Yeah. Well, okay. So wow, I was kind of expecting. I'm sorry. The Zergami got a little excited when I saw a Hydra bust happening. I can't handle it. I just want to see the Protoss die.
Yeah, me too.
But proper choice, actually. Yeah, he's just transitioning to a macro game. He's taking the advantage that he got and trying to run with it into the mid and late game. And he didn't have an Overlord there, so this DT would have stopped the aggression anyway. So good choice by Taitu. We see he's making his Spire. I don't know if he's planning a Muta switch or not, or if that's just to protect against Sares and Shuttles. But yeah, he's just gonna play fairly standard. Still kind of low on drones in his natural and main. But yeah, otherwise he's still in a great position.
Yeah, we see him actually overtake Boa in terms of supply, and that's obviously always a bad sign. Meanwhile, these Corsairs getting a couple overload kills, looks like. So rather Boa, how much did Boa actually lose? He lost a bunch of 3 cannons and a few probes, but other than that, he seems relatively alright despite kind of low supply.
Yeah, not the worst on probes, but yeah, he lost the Forge, he lost Zealots. I'm surprised he actually didn't end up losing that gateway, but he's still in a tough position, right? He doesn't have a cannon here, so.
Oh, Muta's coming in, dodging a few storms, getting all the getting all the Templars. That's huge. None of the Mutas died, or maybe just one. That's definitely huge value for Taitu.
Yeah, no Mutas died at all. So, and this is like the minimum investment that you want in Mutas. You want at least 5 Mutas, so you can pick off High Templar in 2 hits. You can pick off probes in 1 hit with 5. And yeah, he did lose some Scourge to one of the storms, but I mean, this is just doing so much damage right now.
Finding more damage at the natural. Looks like thankfully there's a couple Corsairs that are gonna force it. Well, all right. Yeah, Corsairs forced the Mutas back, but
I think like 4 or 5 probes there died, and then forcing. So yeah, even more probes dying, forcing the probes to like transfer back to the main. It's just a lot of economic damage, and Bo is already behind here. You see Taitu almost like 20 supply up now. It's definitely not where you want to be in PvZ. And Boa is just really scared of these Mutas at this point. He's actually going into Dark Archon, which I don't think is really going to pay off too much, because I don't think Taitu is going to overinvest in Mutas at all.
Yeah, so far we've only seen there's 6 of them right now. I don't know if those are more Mutas coming in a couple Scourges actually. Yeah, so yeah, like you said, there's not a big investment in Mutas. So Dark Archon, I mean, I guess you can always use Maelstrom on Hydras and whatnot.
Yeah, that's the idea. I mean, even for 5 Mutas, if you don't have, he just lost his Sares, so he was actually forced to go Dark Archon, because if you don't, then Zerg kind of just has free reign to like just continually pick off your High Templar.
Yeah, and it looks like the Zerg does have free reign anyway, and
yeah,
thankfully he's down to 3 Mutas, so it takes a little bit longer to kill pros, but he's still finding more damage. Taitu, that is. Not going to Hive just yet, sticking to Hydra and now Lurkers. I mean, what is Boa to do right now? What do you think? Does he have to just go for a timing attack? Does he just weather the storm, try to take a 3rd base slowly?
I mean, he has to get observers first, right? Because, like we see, there's lurkers on the way to lay siege to what remains of Boa's wall, and his robo just started like 30 seconds ago or so. I don't know. This is kind of a Hail Mary attempt by Boa here. Just we see him running these zealots out to try to get damage done because he knows that he's in a terrible spot right now. He's going to be stuck in his base for the foreseeable future. And Taitu, he's been pretty conservative. He's taking this fourth base fairly late, and I think he should clean this up, with relative ease.
Look at that lurker egg micro, man. What am I watching? Just turning his hydras into lurker eggs, and is he gonna cancel them like a bot? No, he's gonna let them finish. All right, that's fine.
I think letting them finish is the correct choice. I mean, honestly, Taitu can kind of do whatever he wants here. I really can't see him winning, barring like an act of God.
Yeah, it seems like Taitu is taking the safe path to victory here, just getting more economy, getting more ahead, really. And Boa still can't really move out. He's just furiously hitting that lurker egg, but it's not gonna pay off, I think.
Yeah, and see, this is the kind of thing about like what separates like base level like ladder all-ins versus someone who does crazy builds to get an edge in tournament games, right? Like Taitu he's just showing us the insane amount of experience he has. Like he's played the situation out pretty much perfectly from the beginning with the later fake out into like a Hydra bust that wasn't too greedy and just pushing his advantage at every stage of the game. Now he's on 4 bases against Boa's 2 base. He's going to be denying this. Like if Boa tries to take this third, Taitu has lurkers and hydras set up here, so it's going to be extremely hard to push up to that. And there's essentially no way that Taitu's main bases aren't in any danger. I mean, Boa's army is just so small, and his economy is never going to be able to catch up to Taitu here.
Yeah, we're at 13 minutes. I mean, the main and natural. I mean, the main is probably going to dry out fairly soon here, and good spread on the lurkers, not letting too much get stormed, but a Maelstrom does catch a couple of hydras in there as well. Yeah, Boa just desperately he really needs this space, and you can tell in how he's just gonna use a lot of storms and a lot of Protoss units to make his way up the ramp.
Yeah, I mean, it hurts losing that army, but like I think it traded really pretty efficiently with Boa's army there for sure. Like it's whittling down his already small army, and it wastes storms, whereas like Taitu still has a huge army at home, right? He has Hive finished. He presumably has Adrenalings finished. So he's just gonna be running away with this lead even more in the next few minutes. Yeah, like you said, like Boa is going to be running out of his main minerals pretty soon. Unless he can kill this, like if he can kill this fourth rather, then maybe he has a shot at getting back into the game. But I just don't see it breaking.
Yeah, we saw, like you said, Taitu has a huge army back at home, and it hasn't moved a whole lot, but I think now it's going to get moving, probably to defend the fort or maybe just counter-attack. Right now, it's like a bunch of Lings are making their way to a potential third base, but it's not there yet for, oh yeah, we see those cracklings just going to town on this pylon, and forced back by a couple of lurkers, well, more than a couple lurkers. Yeah, Boa really not getting anything done here.
I mean, it would have been hard for Boa to kill that lurker in Sunken setup just by itself. Like, Taitu didn't even need to use his army, I think. But, yeah, like, the game is all but over at this point.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely looks like there's a fancy Maelstrom there, but yeah, not a whole lot going on for Boa. It's still just stuck at 115 supply. It doesn't feel good. Meanwhile, Taitu is up to 160 supply. That's whenever a Zerg reaches, more than 150 supply, you're in trouble no matter what race you're playing.
Yeah, Taitu can kind of just he doesn't even have to do anything. He can pretty much just sit here, just deny the third forever, and take whatever bases he wants. He's taking the top right, top left. Getting that double gas, it looks like. And yeah, he has full map vision. I just don't see any way that Bo is going to be able to claw his way back.
Yeah, it definitely seems he is taking up his he is throwing down his Nexus out of the third. Yeah, I mean, I'm really I'm not sure what to say here. Pushing these Lurkers back a little bit. I'm surprised Tai 2 is not just simply A moving with 180 supply worth of Zerg though.
Honestly, I think we can sort of chalk that up to the fact that it's really hard to do that to Zerg.
Yeah,
but,
true.
Yeah. Now we do see him throwing the attack move out, and trading really well. I think, like Tim just pointed out, Boa is ahead in attack upgrades. I think Zerg is still on only 1 carapace. I don't know what Zergling's melee upgrades are looking like.
He's trying to go up the ramp. Doesn't quite make it. The Zealots pile up, but oh man, the Lings are going to town on this Nexus. And alright, does save it, so there's that at least for Boa.
Yeah, just by the skin of his teeth. I almost would have liked to see the Lings target the cannons, but Tai2 knows that all he has to do is delay the third expansion, and as long as Boa doesn't get his economy up in a timely fashion, there's just literally nothing he can do.
Well, yeah, I mean, Boa's supply is up to 140. I mean, is there, like, at some point, does the Protoss army kind of benefit, like, exponentially from having high supply of Protoss? Because we see Boa is actually attacking right now.
I think this is just a Hail Mary attempt. Like, he knows if he sits around, he's just going to get A-moved to death. So he wants to try to put the pressure onto Tai2. And he is doing very well with these storms, but,
These storms were massive. I mean, they ripped a bunch of Hydras and Lings to shreds, but yeah, Lurker's coming back now. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, Storm is good, but it's not good enough to defeat Lurkers under Swarm. I mean, if you don't have the economy, like, this is GG here.
Oh yeah, there we go. There's the Lurker drop. There's the Dark Swarm, and a bunch of Lings into the main are gonna decimate the gateways and the pylons. Yep, suddenly, as I was trying to hype up the potential of Boa coming back into the game, I think that's setting up. We might just end it here.
Yeah, I'm a little worried for Bo, honestly, because he actually did get his third up finally, right? But, like, he essentially spent his entire bank of resources to get that large army that he did the last Hail Mary attack with, right? But he could have, hypothetically waited to push his upgrade advantage a little bit more, or try to get more of a late game army comp going with that 2 base economy. Yeah, I guess I assume he doesn't have any faith left in this game, and he's just kind of tilted a little bit.
Yeah, no, I was gonna ask, if at some point you have such a huge Protoss army and you have a ton of Storm at your disposition, like maybe you're able to really kill a lot of Zerg supply very cost effectively, and I was wondering maybe that would be a way back into the game for Boa, but it didn't quite pan out, and now he's back down to 100 supply, 170 supply for Tai 2. Looks like Tai 2 is just sending he's just sending a few control groups of units at a time. Not doing a whole lot. There's a swarm, but not much left underneath it.
Yeah, this is we see plagues going, swarms. I mean, Boa is not doing well. When Tai 2 manages to start attack moving that big blob of units that we see over at his base, it's basically over.
Yeah, third base, I think, from Boa, I think is being rebuilt right now. Yeah, and we see his minerals are gone in the main. We're almost gone at the natural, I think. Yeah, some patches have been mined out. They're about to disappear as well, so I think it's almost the end of the road for Boa here.
And yeah, Boa, just a handful of GG. Yeah, with his unit comp and his resources, there's really nothing you can do against Lurkers, Slings, and Swarm.
Yeah, simply too much there. Too far behind from the opening, and Tai 2 just slowly tightening the noose there. And we're gonna go to game 2. Game 2 is gonna be on. It's gonna be on
We're just waiting for Poe to pick the map.
Yeah, no, I started that sentence before. I thought it was a set map order. It's not. It's actually a
yeah, it's lizard picks.
Well,
but yeah, that was a really well played game by Taitu. I'm hyped up now. I hope Taitu can pull out a second win and just like go through the group undefeated here. I mean, tournament wise, you know, the round of 8 is going to be extremely Zerg heavy if that happens. But yeah, I'm excited to see. It looks like Taitu is back in shape to me.
yeah, that was definitely an impressive showing from him. But then again, is he gonna be able to pull it off in game 2 and 3? I mean, it was a bit, you know, Boa kind of, I wouldn't say threw the game, but you know, he definitely didn't help his cause by building 3 pylon behind.
Yeah.
Taitu's natural there.
Yeah, I mean, Boa did drop the ball there a little bit. He went into the game with an immediate disadvantage because of that failed cannon rush, and then Taitu played it right. He did the mind game with the lair into the 3-hash Hydra, which did a lot of damage. So, he kind of handed Taitu a little bit of leeway, and then Taitu just ran with it. We'll see if he does the same this game. I think Forge FE was a little bit of a, kind of not the opening that I was expecting. So I'm wondering if we'll see like a gate FE to try to put Taitu in a defensive position here. Anyway, we'll be jumping into our second game on Polypoid in just a second.
All right, so in the top right, as the blue Protoss, we have Boa.
And top left is our red Zerg. We have Taitu.
So Taitu is up 1-0. One more win, and he's through to the round of 8. By the way, we will be doing a round of 8 draw at the end of this cast after all the games have concluded. So stick around for that if you want to see what the matchups are going to look like for the next round.
Yeah. Really interested to see how that pans out. I mean, I think regardless of who makes it out of this group, our round of 8 is going to be just stacked. Like, it's literally just a collection of the, obviously the best players in North America. There have been a few upsets, like Jaeyoon getting knocked out and Michael making it through, for example, in Group C, but I think most of the favorites have gone through so far. So I'm really, really interested to see who ends up, performing in the round of 8. So we see, like I said, Boa going with his bread and butter opening here, gate FE.
Yeah, looking for that Overlord, and now he's going to head towards the top left, presumably. Meanwhile, Taitu, his first Overlord, is heading towards the bottom left of the map, where there's really nothing to see just yet. Taking his hatch on 11?
Yeah, so 11 hatches. Very standard opening in ZVP nowadays. It just gets slings out slightly more fast, more quickly. So it can, like, ideally the lings will pop right as the zealot should be, like, walking into your base, right? Whereas if you went 12 hatch, for example, you'd have to defend with just drones for that much longer.
Mm-hmm. A little bit of probe harassment. First zealot gonna pop out very shortly here, gonna make its way across the map. Anything specific about Polypoid ZVP? I mean, it's a fairly standard map in all Terran matchups as far as I'm concerned, so is there anything we should know?
No, I mean, it's another pretty standard, it's very standard in all Zerg matchups as well. It's kind of like it's almost like the modern replacement for Fighting Spear a little bit.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Oh no.
That hurts.
My God. And it had a mineral, so it exploded in a crazy, like, firestorm of...
Insult upon injury, yeah.
Yep.
Losing the 8 minerals. That's really rough. It always hurts the psyche to lose drones just before the zealot even hits your base.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does play a little bit. Maybe Tai2 won't be too phased, but looks like he's just going to park his Zealot in the back with the probe there, possibly attacking through the minerals, or maybe just denying of mining from some patches.
So the probe should actually be able to hit. It looks like it's not doing it right now, but theoretically it should be able to hit those drones. But honestly, it doesn't even matter. Just if the Protoss gets the Zealot behind the minerals, it's already kind of a win. Because it's so cost efficient to trade with Lings there. He's not getting much done with his second Zealot, but still he's forcing Lings out from Tai2. He's forcing Tai2's multitask to, Tai2 isn't the most mechanically skilled player, right? He's kind of like a brain Zerg. So I feel like just forcing Tai2 to multitask that much more is just a win in itself, even if Boa doesn't get that much damage in terms of drone kills.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. No drones, the natural yet. No, we see a couple now starting to mine. Yeah, so I mean, going into this game, Tai2's up 1-0. What would be the build you would go for here? Would you try to cheese? Would you just try to play straight up? I think playing straight up might not be the right call, right, against Boa?
Well, I don't know if you saw my games last week, but obviously my choice is to go all in. But I mean, I'm not the most experienced tournament player, so I don't know what Tai2 has up his sleeve. I think it's probably a better bet to try to play a little straight up if you do have that kind of extra cushion of a win already. But it looks like he's going for a quick layer into 3H Hydra again, just like last game. As Tim was pointing out, he is kind of a little flustered. I think he has an idle drone above his gas, along with a couple Lings.
There's a little secret meeting there of 2 Lings and a drone discussing the events of.
Yeah, they're just trying to loaf around. They don't want to fight and die. They just want to chill out. Can't blame them.
So this Zealot finally woke up now, and it tried to get a drone kill or something. It didn't get anything. Now it's running towards the main. Taking a few hits along the way. Maybe try to get a drone here. Yep, let's get a drone. So that's not too bad for Boa.
Yeah, it gets a drone and it sees that it's the same thing as last game, right? The fast layer into the 3H Hydra. So this is really, really absolutely ideal for Boa.
Yeah, he canceled something. I'm not sure what the rationale was behind that, but there are a few Hydras that did pop out anyway. So, I mean, I assume he might make his way across the map with them and try to get some damage done to the front.
Yeah, I'm guessing. I mean, based on my own experience, maybe he made like one too many overlords or something when he really just wants to, keep powering Hydras. But who knows what he canceled? Yeah, we see Tai2 now spreading out Lings to see if there's any Zealots hidden out on the map, which I think is a good choice, especially someone as smart as Boa. That's always a good counter to 3H Hydra if you can spare the Zealots, kind of sneaking out some Zealots to go around like the third, for example, while the Zerg is concentrating on sniping down your gateway and your forge and so on. Is really, really good. And just forcing Hydras back to sort of deal with that. But yeah, Boa is just adding cannons patiently. He's not sneaking Zealots out. And he's just going to be flying his Corsairs around trying to see whether Tai2 is actually going all in with this or if he's starting to drone again.
Yeah, I think you can see his response is very calm, not making a bajillion cannons right off the bat. Actually, using his Corsairs, because I assume his Corsairs can see what's coming out of the eggs at Tai2's hatcheries, so he knows there's not that many Hydralisks. That being said, I mean, he does have 3 cannons and a bunch of Zealots. I assume are enough to hold this. So Tai2 is going to head home for now. Make sure that Corsairs do not get any more Overlord kills. So where do you go from here? Where do you go from here as Tai2?
Well, honestly, I wish I could tell you. I would love to have a peek in the mind of Tai2 myself here, but
who wouldn't?
I just have no idea what he's going to do. He looks very, very light on drones still. We'll have to see what pops from these eggs, but I guess he's still just making Hydras. Is he just going to... It looks like he's going to go for a drop, I'm guessing. Okay, there's...
a couple lurkers, but a ton of Zealots are just streaming out right now. So if Tai2 is planning on doing a drop, he better go soon. Otherwise, these Zealots are going to run him over, maybe.
Yeah. What made me think drop was the positioning of those units, but we see those lurkers getting just immediately... One egg was cancelled, and then the other lurker got immediately focused down. But yeah, this position of these units with the overlords, maybe it's a drop. Either way, Tai2 is in trouble here because that's a lot of zealots.
Yeah, they're all gonna stream in. There's a bunch of Hydras, and now, oh my God, drones coming in to fight. More Hydras coming in. Looks like I think Tai2's okay. He has a lot of Hydras, and I think the two lurkers we saw. Yeah, I think they're gonna go into the main. I'm not sure if Boa caught. Yeah, okay. Well, now he knows. Now he knows that this is happening. So not gonna work. Or is he? Or is he?
Yeah, I don't think this is going to do any damage. It's really nicely positioned Corsairs from Boa. So he will be able to harass down these gateways a little bit, but I think... Okay, yeah, the cannon isn't even going to die. So he cleaned this up with almost no damage. Tai2 is in a really bad position. He did try to drop the natural. And I don't know if he got any probe kills with Lurker, but Boa cleans that up fairly quickly. And yeah, I think Tai2 is in big trouble here.
Yeah, I think I saw about 5 kills there on the lurker before it died. I'm glad to see that this is also a strat in ZVP as well as ZVT. The kind of double drop, run lurkers into your main mineral line and the natural at the same time, trying to catch Boa off guard. But Boa is not going to fall for it this time. And well, I think Tai2 might be a little bit in a tough spot here. I think he committed a lot, right? You have to get drops. I mean, you're eventually going to get, obviously, lurker aspect and whatnot, but it seems like he's in a bit of a tough spot. He doesn't have a strong econ.
Yeah, he's very low on drones. He's not even one-to-one, drone to mineral pass saturated on any base, not even his main right now. So he's completely all in here. It looks like he's trying to go for like a Hail Mary drop maybe, but I really don't see a pathway to a victory here. Like, Boa is playing very defensively with his Corsairs. He knows, he's the only way that he could possibly lose right now is if like he somehow loses all of his gateways or something to Hydras. But like Tai2, he has 6 drones at his natural. He has 4 drones at his third. He's going for a little fake drop here.
Yeah, he's going for the fake drop. That's what I was gonna say. That maybe it's gonna work here, but it looks like he went a little too quickly. The Zealots didn't have time to move, and he's gonna get a couple cannons. And now he's hitting these Zealots. Looks like Storm is just about ready at the perfect time to rip every Hydra to shreds. And I think, yeah, GG.
Yeah, that Bo was almost giving me a heart attack there. I was wondering if he forgot Storm or something. He took him so long to storm those Hydras. And if he did forget Storm, I guess that could have potentially been a victory for Tai2. But yeah, very well played by Boa there.
Yeah, Boa looking really strong there in that game. Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, Tai2 looked really good in the first game. In this game, looked a little bit like, he got just, slapped down. Boa wasn't interested in any of his shenanigans around the map. I wonder how. I mean, I wonder going into game 3. I mean, what is Tai2 gonna pull off? You think he's gonna go for something cheesy or gonna straight up play again, or?
It's hard to say. I mean, it's like I said, it's impossible to predict what Tai2 is going to do. But I would be surprised if we saw just the same again, sort of like 3H Hydra lair into sort of a drop sort of thing. But yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see. He did pick Sylphid, so I would like to think that he has some well-prepared build for this map. But I would guess that we're just going to see Boa come out with a Gate FE again. And it seems like it's going to be hard for Tai2 to deal with. Oh, we should be jumping into the match any second now.
Yeah, here we go. It's the ace match. Tai2 Boa, who's going to advance to the round of 8.
And at 12 o'clock, we have our blue Protoss Boa.
And in the bottom right, we have the orange Zerg Tai2. So yeah, like you said, I mean, I hope Tai2... Oh, well, I mean, let's see what Tai2 goes for. If he goes for the same kind of, 3-hatch layer and then Hydra kind of opening, I mean, maybe he has another follow-up to that kind of, first few moves in this game. Or maybe he'll go for something completely different. Yeah, I'm excited to see what's in store for us.
I can't imagine he'll be doing another drop build like last game, because one thing about Sylphid is while the 12 o'clock main is very large and there's a lot of room for drops, the naturals on Sylphid, there's no room at all behind those minerals or anything, so it's kind of tough to do lurker drops a little bit.
Yeah, it's definitely a smaller natural with no space behind the minerals, like you said, and the cannons can kind of cover almost all of the ground at the natural. But again, I mean, I don't know. Sylphid, again, I have no experience in ZVP, but like you said, flying units can come in from a lot of angles in your main.
Yeah.
And that can be kind of hard to deal with.
We see Tai2 opening overpool rather than hatch first this time. So just a little bit slightly safer. I wonder if this is just a reaction to, the Zealot's last game. Like, he just wants his lings that much faster. He definitely looks like he was struggling with the multitask that Boa was forcing with his Zealots. Like, Boa didn't really get too many drones. He did kill an early drone with a probe, but he didn't do a ton of drone damage with the Zealots. But just getting the Zealots behind the minerals was really taxing Tai2. And
yeah, I don't know, man.
If you get the first hit as Protoss there, the Zerg has to react. They can't just sit there. They have to set that drone back and send another drone.
Yeah,
that's gotta hurt in terms of just tilting Tai2 a little bit. It always feels really bad when you have to send a second drone out there.
Yeah, that definitely does not. That's not encouraging to see. I mean, it's kind of, if you're paying attention, you should see whether or not you're going to win that fight, right? Even if you're not aware of how it started, who got the first hit, if he got maybe a couple of free hits in. I mean, if you lose that first drone, I mean, it delays your hatchery. It's I mean, losing a drone early on is so critical.
He did go for a fairly fast gas here. I actually missed the exact timing that he got his gas down in his main, but he might just be looking to get a very fast link speed. He was trying to deny the probe scout with his first planes, as we saw, but
meanwhile, these links are gonna get in, right? I mean, that's not
Yeah, these things are going to get in, but Boa is actually playing very cautiously here. He's actually opting for a shield battery before a forge, so it looks like he wants to be producing Zealots for the foreseeable future, and he's just playing extra careful in case Tai2 does try to do a link counter like he did.
Yeah, and we saw a Zealot and a probe make their way into the main of Tai2 as he left with his initial 6 lane. They kind of went to the left a little bit, hid for a second, and came in. I'm not sure how much damage they did, but
almost no damage.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the lings are still in Boa's main. Yeah, we can see a little orange dot running around. A couple more lings running in. I'm not sure if they're gonna get very far. Undecisive in what they're gonna do. They just end up dying to Zealots for now. And it looks like the ling died in the main as well.
But this is actually really rough for Boa, because I don't know if he planned this shield battery wall, but it's not tight on the left.
Yeah.
But I think it's still fine, because Tai2 has lost so many Zerglings for almost nothing. We do see that Tai2 is going for a 2 hatchery build here. So I'm wondering if it's going to be a Muto or some sort of lurker.
Yeah, and he has 2 lings in the main. That's not too bad. Now they have speed, so they might be able to run around. Let's see. I mean, we talked about how Tai2 might not have the absolute best mechanics, and he's more of a cerebral player. But let's see what he can get done with these two links.
Yeah, and this is very, very all in. Taitu doesn't. It looks like he has 2 drones mining as natural right now. But I'm actually surprised. Like, he wasted so many lings to accomplish almost nothing. But these 2 lings now with speed are actually doing quite a bit of damage. Killing a couple probes here and there, delaying the tech. And we do see that Taitu is actually going for a spire. So it should be up, fairly quickly. I'm wondering if Bo is actually going to be able to get his Sares up in time and get cannons up in time to deal with this.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, this situation, I see it sometimes in random ZVPs that I happen to watch, and when you get lings in, I think it seems like it's a common follow-up for the Zerg to go for a quick spire and just rely on the fact that the Protoss is going to be thrown off, constantly trying to chase around these 2 lings and microing his probes away and whatnot, and will not be ready for when the mutas show up, and they could potentially just end the game right there and then.
Boa, God, he's been taking so much damage from these lings, and they're just delaying everything so much. I kind of wish he would have just plopped down a cannon in his mineral line like relatively early, because he's going to be needing one eventually anyway.
Yeah, and for the mutas.
And just having that extra security, allowing him to sort of like pop out with his zealots a little bit for some scouting information. I don't know. I'm worried.
Yeah, he still hasn't made. He looks like he trapped a probe there for the Corsair.
Yeah, when first they just started making, and 6 meters are going to be on their way pretty soon.
And Taitu sees everything, right? So he might just make a. I mean, would he make a pair of Scourges and actually just kill the first Corsair and then might just snowball from there?
Yeah, so we see 5 mutas and 2 Scourge. So I think Boa might honestly just be dead here.
Yeah, they're making their way. They're going straight to the main. They know, and the Corsair is just flipping out because he doesn't know what to do. There's so many mutas coming in. The cannon's not even done yet. 5 mutas are gonna come in, and yeah, the Scourge is gonna go. Oh man, the Corsair goes down immediately, and this is looking not good.
No, it's definitely a tough position for Protoss here. He is moving out with his zealots to buy some time and see if he can do some damage, but Taitu knows. He knows exactly what Bo is going to try to do to save himself in this position. He's ready with the sunken, the wings. Those zealots aren't going to do anything.
Yeah, Taitu knows, like you said, he's looking like he got himself into a good spot, and he knows exactly how to capitalize on his advantage, I guess. I mean, I kind of hesitate to call it an advantage, getting just a couple lings, considering how many he lost. But it looks like it's gonna work. The lings cutting off the zealots, preventing them from getting into the main. Yeah, I mean, Taitu might have done it.
Yeah, sick game. I mean, Bo is trying to make a Dragoon here, but it's not going to be nearly enough to get up all those mutas. Is it now 6 mutas we're up to?
Oh man, that Dragoon, seven mutas, yeah. Trying to get the Scourge, not even gonna get it. He's going after this pylon. It's not unpower the gateway. I'm not sure if the pylon on the top left is gonna be able to power it, but I mean, the main's gonna go down, and oh god, the Corsair just managed to escape. Geez, I mean, is there any chance for Boa to retake his main? And if not, is there a chance for Boa to come back in this game?
It's really. I wish I could try to pretend that there was still a fighting chance for Boa here, but I really can't imagine him coming back 1 base against 2. And especially considering he doesn't really have any room to build here, right? He is trying to make a Stargate again, so it'll take so long for him to get enough Corsairs to try to deal with these. Like, 1 gateway producing Dragoons, which aren't even very good against mutas. And then, Taitu can just hold this position for basically forever. If he had we see GG called.
Yeah, GG, wow.
And we should be having Taitu in for an interview. Maybe if Boa had a Templar archive or something, and he could sneak out an Archon from that one gate at his natural. But even then, like Taitu could have just split the metas and killed the Archon. Hello. First of all, congratulations, Taitu, for being first to qualify from Group D. How are you feeling after those games?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good. I was a little nervous. Excuse me as I readjust my mic. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I prepared a little bit before the match. I had some special builds prepared to take on my opponents, and I had a plan. I executed it to the best of my ability, and I followed through, and that's how I just So I'm feeling pretty satisfied with my performance.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You mentioned you were a little nervous. That's actually surprising to me because I was saying during the cast, like, one advantage I think you had over both the whip and bow is that you just have like a ton of tournament experience. So I figured like nerves would be the last of your concern.
I played a lot of tournaments, but it's like Hyuk. He's had a lot of tournament experience. A lot of players have a lot of tournament experience out there, but there's always tournament nerves are pretty much always eternal, and you're always gonna get it. And depending on what kind of player you are, and the mentality you have going into a game. So I definitely had tournament nerves for sure.
Well, I'm glad you were able to overcome them. The games were really awesome to watch. Were you able to actually, like, each game, were you able to actually do exactly what you had planned?
Oh, no, absolutely not. No. It was, everything was like, actually the last game I was like, I just totally I was going to do like a 3-hatch Hydra, but I was going to a fake drop. I was going to do a fake drop, but then I was like, oh crap, did I just lose my drone to a freaking probe again? And I was like, screw my life. and I was like going off the top. I was just going off the hizzy, I was freestyling like crazy. I should have lost that game, honestly, with how reckless I was being. But yeah, I just improvised everything you saw that last game. But yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, all in all, I pretty much did exactly what I planned.
Okay, let's continue. Well, I don't know. It looked like it was something that you had planned because it was very well executed. I mean, like I was amazed that I was really scared after your first like 10 or 12 lings almost. It seemed like you were doing no damage whatsoever, but just getting those 2 lings in did like catastrophic damage basically and threw Boa's whole build off. But that was really nice to watch. Was it just like Boa's gate FE that kind of threw you off in general, like his probe harass and his like zealot micro and everything?
Yeah, I've been practicing losing a lot of drones to probes in the early game, especially against gate FE. When Protoss does that, it's just really hard. It does throw me off. I think the virtue of the first game, him going FFE, I was just like, my early game control is a little shaky, and that multitasking heavy part of the game I'm just not great at. So that definitely threw me off. So I definitely felt like I had to overcome that through extraordinary circumstances. There's a lot of luck, a lot of that went into that game's success for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And game 1 was really pretty incredible to watch for me, just because how effectively you're able to push your advantages at every stage of the game. I'm guessing you probably weren't prepared for Boa to go Forge Fast Expand, like you said. But then he did that kind of strange cannon rush a little bit where, you honestly dealt with it perfectly. And I think kind of threw him off a little bit because he ended up making a pylon by accident in between the 2 other ones. But so did you have that particular build at least prepared for that matchup? For that map?
No, I actually had a different thing. I did not prepare that, actually. I did have a plan. I was gonna go for the 3-hatch Hydra drop, lurker drop that you saw in game 2. I was gonna do a game 1, but I thought, okay, well, I'm really far ahead. I feel like I can do anything, just about anything, and I'll win the game. So I'm gonna try to save that build for later, for another game.
Well, you just told everyone that you're going to do it, though. So
yeah, that's true. It's okay. It is what it is. I'm okay. Fearless.
Sorry about that. I didn't mean to.
No, it's fine. It's
expose
fine.
your strats.
It's fine. I did.
But anyway, so going back to the first game, at least, did you have any inkling that Whip was actually going to go mech?
Whip. I mean, I had prepared a build for his mech, and if he went, I prepared for a bio opener or a mech opener. You know, whether it was 111, you know, the factory starport into bio tank, or whether it was going to just pure Goliath. That Hydra drop build works for either of them, so I just felt very comfortable. So yeah, I prepared for all possibilities.
I have to thank you for showing me that build because I want to try that on ladder now. That's really sick. I've never even thought about doing that against mech. And like you said, it does seem like it would work against 111 because it hits at a timing where they won't really have their production online yet. So yeah, it should be really hard for Terran to deal with.
Definitely, it's a really powerful build. Just you know, my bag of builds, I just took one out. It was a little dusty, you know, but you know, I kind of just dusted it off and whipped it out, and you know, it definitely paid off.
Well, I'm super happy, dude. I'm really happy to see you getting back in shape and coming back into the scene a little bit. Do you have any other questions, Ninja?
Sure. Did you realize that Boa made 3 pylons and not 2 pylons and a cannon when he tried to cannon rush you?
Yeah, I knew. Yeah, he made a third pylon. I think the third pylon it's like this kind of tactic that they do where they use it to like glitch out the drone. Like whenever you try to drone hop, you can put a third pylon in between the 2 pylons to like prevent a drone from hopping into that space. And you can see it's done like in the bottom right position of the natural of Fighting Spirit. That's done a lot that on that map. So that was definitely purposeful. I definitely knew he was trying to like space out my drone from getting in there. But you know, I was clicking hard enough. I was just maneuvering well enough that it just didn't do a successful job of stopping me from shutting down the cannon rush. So yeah.
Okay, I thought Boa just lost his mind and made a pylon instead of a cannon.
Yeah, he was gonna cancel it, I'm pretty sure, and then make the cannon. But yeah, yeah, I knew.
Sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna compliment Taitu. Yeah, that was really awesome getting that through because I was worried when I saw that cannon rush positioning. I think that's, at least for me, one of the hardest cannon rushes to stop.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's definitely pretty hard to do.
I think lastly, I was going to ask you, who would you like to face in the round of 8?
The round of 8. You know, I mean, it could be. I'm really up for anyone who's not a Zerg. You know, so maybe like a dragon. It's like dragon. You know, I guess that might be a person who I'm looking forward to because I feel like that's another person who's kind of like I've had some moderate success against, doing crafty builds, but it's going to be a very tough, even match. But everyone going to the round of 8, I'm pretty sure is going to be really tough. But yeah, dragon or any non-Zerg players.
Well, I hope we do see you against Dragon because that's like one of the most classic North American matchups. Honestly, I know you two have a ton of history playing against each other in tournaments, so that would be a real pleasure to watch. Anyway, congratulations again. And thank you so much for showing us some fun games tonight.
Yeah, thank you. It was a pleasure. All right, thank you. Bye.
Later.
All right, so that was Taitu moving up to the round of 8. Now we're going to have our losers bracket where we find none other than Whip and Red Duck.
So this is honestly, I have no idea what to expect from this match. Do you know anything about? I know Red Duck plays. He's a Terran main, but he plays Protoss against Terran, so he'll be PvTing Whip tonight.
Oh man, I was looking forward to a TVT. I was like, well, this is.
Yeah, you get to see them so rarely, right? In North American Brood.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I'm gonna steal their openings. I'm struggling so much these days with TVT, but good enough. Fine, we'll see. We'll see a PvT. PvT is always fun to watch. I've never seen Red Duck play PvT. obviously because I thought we were gonna see a TVT. Meanwhile, Whip, same thing. I haven't seen his TVP, so honestly, we're in the same boat. I'm not sure what we're gonna. I'm not sure what to expect here.
Yeah, it'll just be just a moment. It looks like we're struggling yet again with the invalid password bug. It's unfortunately been plaguing Battle.net for the past couple months. But it seems like Whip was finally able to get into the game, so it should be starting in just a second.
Yeah, both players in the game. We're on Eclipse, game 1. Let's get this show on the road.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll wait until we introduce players, but so it looks like top right we have our light green, I guess, Protoss, Red Duck.
And in the bottom left, it's gonna be our Red Terran, Whip.
Yeah, so I really don't know how this is going to play out. I know Whip has said that he's a little, not necessarily afraid, but he does consider Red Duck a very strong player. Protoss, I think they have played a fair amount, and I do know that Red Duck was actually, according to some people I know who play more with him, he's been actually thinking of switching full time to Protoss, which would suck for North American Brood War, but probably good for him. And as far as I know, his Protoss is very, very strong.
Yeah, well, yeah. I'll keep my comments on that to myself. But yeah, sure. I mean, they're both strong players. I mean, in my very limited experience with these players, they feel like they're about at the same level. Solid A rank, but would maybe struggle to get up to S rank and hold S rank. Looks like we're gonna have a forward gate here from Red Duck. I was thinking we were in the ZVP for a second. Meanwhile, Whip, just gonna take a Rax and probably gas. Oh, gas deal.
Wow. That's kind of rough. I was going to say I was surprised that Whip isn't doing the 2 depot wall there, but yeah, just getting gas stolen. I guess he's just going to go. What would you do in this situation? Just go Rax, fast expand?
I would leave the game, but I'll tell you what a better player would do. I mean, you get your Rax, you get a few Marines, and then you start hitting the assimilator, and eventually you can take your command center before, and then have a bunker. You can also, I mean, it depends. There's all sorts of ways to react to this. You can get a second barracks and actually make a ton of Marines and then go and pressure the Protoss, because at some point you'll hit like a sort of, I wouldn't say critical mass of Marines, but you'll have so many Marines that you'll be able to deal somewhat with the Zealots that the Protoss is going to be making, because obviously he delays everything a little bit on his side, right? The Protoss player is, and we see, so this is I mean, I guess you can do this as well. I mean, you can steal his gas, and now he's forced into making a lot of Zealots for a long time. So maybe Whip will get a second barracks. Looks like he's gonna build an eBay, probably at Red Duck's natural. Yeah, I'm just gonna block, and that forces Red Duck to essentially stay at home with his units and take care of that first. So it alleviates a little bit of pressure. So he's hitting the gas, and of course you still have to micro against the Zealot, and I mean we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, actually, a really cool response. I've never really seen this before. Is this a common way for Terran to respond to getting gas stolen?
I mean, stealing the Protoss's gas, I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen it a whole lot in in games between pros. That being said, I don't think it's that bad, because you keep the Protoss on Zealots for a long time, and it's really, like I said, eventually you get more and more Marines, and you're going to be safe against Zealots relatively. What hurts really is when you're fighting the Zealots, you're trading with them, and then a Dragoon shows up, and a Dragoon can basically kill Infinity Marines, especially when it has range. So seeing the gas being stolen by Whip, I think he's going to be safe. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it looks like he's in an okay situation. So is Red Duck. They're both just taking their expansion, so a bit of a crazy opening, but overall, I think we're going to be in a relatively stable spot.
Yeah, I was a little worried when I saw the gas get stolen and then him, Whip lose the first SUV to a probe. But I guess, he does play a lot of ladder, so he's probably pretty familiar with these sort of crazy, aggressive openings. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's showing up, not going for a run by. Yeah, I mean, I think from here, I mean, we'll just see Whip get his he's getting his factory. He's gonna get probably a second factory pretty quickly, because the Protoss isn't going straight into DTs at like 6 minutes. Second gas taken by Red Duck. We'll see what kind of tech he wants to go for here. It's gonna be a robo.
Yeah, Tim pointed out the second gas. Is that does that indicate like some sort of like cheesier type of play, like maybe like DT or Reaver drop or something?
A better player would be able to tell you. For me, yeah, it probably means a little bit of a heavier tech opening. I don't think you need the second gas that fast if you're just going to go for relatively fast third nexus with just goons, as goons don't cost too much gas and you don't have to tech into gateways don't take gas, right? So obviously you don't need that much gas as a Protoss.
Yeah, and you only really need like 1 or 2 observers at the early point in the game.
Yeah, good scan by Whip there. He's going to see the robo, so he kind of knows what to expect a little bit. It's not going to be like a really fast third base, because sometimes Protoss like to do that. They'll kind of, when the Terran's a bit on the back foot, they'll try to sneak a third base in really quickly. Oh, that Academy is flashing, so are we going to see some bioplay?
Wow, yeah. He doesn't have an eBay, it looks. Okay, I totally missed the barracks producing there.
Yeah, the barracks producing, but off of 1 barracks, I guess he's just gonna get stim for. Oh, there's 1, there's 2, up to 3 barracks now. Okay, so it's gonna be it's obviously gonna be a big kind of bio play, with tank support push. That being said, I haven't seen the support bay just yet from Red Duck, but if he does go Reavers, oh, there it is. Okay, so this is gonna get pretty wild in a couple minutes here.
Yeah, and it's kind of confusing to me, because normally when I see these types of builds from Terran, they get a pretty early eBay, right? And they try to like build a ring of turrets around their base to deny scouting. But I mean, Red Duck should see exactly what's happening fairly quickly. And we see an observer, I think, is on the way.
Yeah, the observer is on the way, and yeah, I mean, I don't know, these builds, we've seen them from time to time. Like, I think Ro16 is someone who likes to go for these kinds of builds. I don't know, for me, I'm not a fan, just because the Reaver is such a ubiquitous unit to get in the early game in PvP nowadays, and it just deals so easily with this kind of push. That being said, I mean, if he has stim, maybe he can pick off the Reaver or the shuttle real quick and get a win like that, but I think in most cases it's not going to end up very well for the Terran.
Yeah, and he's just going to get full scouting info here and see exactly what's happening, so he's going to know exactly how to deal with this army. I mean, yeah. This is kind of scary, I guess, this army right now, but yeah, he's going to have to attack like uphill multiple times into these units, so
yeah, the tank's a little bit late there, and he's moving out really quickly, so it's not bad, but unfortunately, yeah, there's the Reaver already. Oh man, that's a dud from the Reaver. Another shot, gonna get a good hit on the tanks there, and yeah, you can see Red Duck's micro is just, he's on top of things. The Reaver is getting a lot of damage in, and now, I mean, what is he gonna do? He doesn't lose, can't get the Reaver, so this push, I mean, has already been stifled so hard. Three base Red Duck. He's gonna throw down a few more gates, and he's lost. Whip has lost all momentum here, and so it's going to be very hard to keep this going.
Yeah, I mean, what is even your option at this point? Because you've already invested so much in this like barracks infrastructure that essentially is like completely useless now, right?
Yeah, I mean, your only option is just to keep going. Like we see Whip going for it. Like there's nothing. There's no greener pastures waiting for you if you don't attack. So you might as well just attack and hope for the best. Like I said, Stim Marines might be able to pick off a shuttle real quick, and if that happens, although he's setting up a couple turrets, maybe that will be good enough. Like the shuttle here. Oh man, I don't know if there's 2 Reavers, but yeah, I see they go down really quickly, and now the tanks on the high ground, they might be able to deal with these Dragoons.
Wow.
Oh man. Well, there you go. There's
I was going to say, I think it's a little hard to micro Reavers a little bit in this situation, but like that was not what I was thinking of in terms of what you should be.
Red Duck got a little bit overeager here. I think he was a little bit confident after dealing with the initial push, but just dropping the Reavers in the middle of everything. The thing is, when you're in the middle, you have a hard time getting your splash damage on a lot of units, right? You're in the middle.
Because you're surrounded on all sides, right? So
yeah, exactly. And we saw the Reavers go down really quickly. 2 Reavers. I think that's why he was feeling really confident. But they went down real quick, and now Whip might just win it.
Yeah, I'm kind of speechless. That was wow. Like we said, multiple times, a lot of these players are kind of new to the tournament, scene. So maybe just struggling with both nerves and kind of like decision making on the fly is really tough to get your bearings on.
Yeah, I think that's the case. Maybe Red Duck got a little bit flustered when he realized that Whip was still pushing. I'm not sure if he was aware. Maybe he thought that Whip would just kind of hang back and try to take a third or something. And when he saw the army, he was like, okay, I need to make like a decisive move before he sets up all of his turrets and whatnot. But I mean, it backfired in a spectacular way. And now Whip, if there's one thing I learned about his TVZ, is that he's extremely good at finding new bases and denying them. And this is exactly what he's doing at the third. Now the natural just went down. Red Duck now sitting on... Well, okay, he's going to save this at least, but I was going to say that he would be stuck on, his 8 gates with a single base, and that would be a terrible spot to be in.
By the same token, I mean, Red Duck, he has all his gateways online now, so he's going to be having some pretty great production off of those, and it does look like he has Storm Drop. High Templar and Shuttle plus Storm. He's going to be able to alleviate some of the pressure here and maybe break his way out.
Yeah, I think he saw a few too many units at the third, and now he's going to try and break through. But there's bunkers with Marines inside, and this is going to be tough.
Yeah, those bunkers are just doing so much to keep this hold alive.
Yeah, especially because the bunkers keep the Marines safe for Storm, so the Storm loses a little bit of its use there. The third looks like it's going to go down. Red Duck trying really hard to break through, and just oh no, oh my god, this Reaver has no Scarab. GG, wow. My god.
That's a rough loss. It went from being way ahead to just completely throwing it there. But really well played by Whip. That was maybe the most surprising game of the night, honestly.
Yeah, definitely. That game went. I mean, things went from 100 to 0 real quick there for Red Duck. Yeah, I mean, in a way, Red Duck was doing kind of like the textbook thing of, oh, you can use Reavers initially, but eventually you might want to get Storm, as Storm is a very good late game option and also deals with bio really well. But the kind of bunker rush that Whip pulled off kind of countered that to some extent. And yeah, I mean, props to Whip to staying in the game and staying focused and capitalizing on Red Duck's mistake there.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, like you mentioned, about Whip's TVZ, he's a very on top of things as far as finding hidden bases and stuff or new expansions. I actually really like playing against him because he's sometimes to his detriment a little bit. He's just constantly aggressive and constantly like throwing units across the map. If you're not completely on top of things, then you'll find like fire bats in your mineral lines. He's very, very hard to play against.
Yeah, I agree. That's definitely the impression I got from watching his, a limited amount of games for him. He's sending stuff all over the map, and if you're not, if you're not on top of things, it can things can go downhill real quick.
I'm curious to see his TVP more though. I mean, last game he was probably caught off guard by the opening, so I don't know if that was necessarily something that he had planned. But I wonder if we'll see some sort of other crazy, like aggressive Terran opening from this game.
Yeah, the gas deal does put you in a bit of an awkward spot sometimes. We saw for a brief moment Whip had like a lot of minerals, and under like 500 minerals and maybe like 80 gas or something like that. So maybe that's something that's pushed him towards, oh, maybe I can make a ton of Marines and just win off of a tank bio push. Anyway, on to game number 2 now. Whip versus Red Duck. We're on Polyport.
And it looks like we have our Protoss Red Duck in bottom left.
And up here in the top left, we have our yellow Terran, Whip.
So you mentioned before, you feel like Polyport is pretty standard for Terran in all matchups. So obviously, TVP as well. Do you personally like playing Polyport TVP or?
Yeah, I mean it's fine. It's a fine map. Yeah, I mean really, like we said before, it's very standard. The third is on the high ground, and sometimes you think, oh well, if it's on the high ground, you feel a lot safer. You feel like, oh, it's easier to defend, but it has very large ramps, and so Protosses have no trouble sending a bunch of speed lots in, and you can get run over very easily trying to hold your third, like I was saying before as well. Other than that, I mean, it's a fairly standard map. Some expansions are a little bit harder to get to, being on the side of the map and not easy to access. But yeah, I mean, honestly, it's a very standard map.
Yeah, I mean, as they're like taking those mineral only expansions, I mean, past like the one right outside of your main, it's always kind of like scary. Even like really late game, I don't like taking them because, like you said, they are on high ground, but they're extremely wide open. So yeah, it's kind of like a death trap almost. And then as Terran, like, I don't know, if you're doing maybe, I guess you can do really heavy vulture, 3 base timings, right? But for the most part, like having that mineral only with only 6 patches as your third base isn't like exactly what you would want.
Yeah, of course. The dream is always to have an easy to hold third with a gas. Here it's a mineral only. I mean, it's all right. I find that I'm not sure if that's really a thing, but when you have a mineral only as a third, a lot of Terrans will favor more like 4 base play and 3-2 upgrades before really going out onto the map and fighting the Protoss, just to get the 3 gases going. It also allows you to get more factories up and really have a kind of stronger production behind your push. So that's also a very viable option.
Yeah, anyway, so we see very standard openings from both players here. Whip going for gasless expand, and then but Red Duck is just going for typical 1 base build, maybe 23 decks.
Yeah, after a goon or 2. Looks like there's a second goon on the way. Yeah, and Red Duck scouting, like very good players, the pros will essentially sometimes they scout very late with their probe in TVP. A lot of people on ladder will instead scout right after their gate, or sometimes even after their pylon. And here, Red Duck going in the wrong direction, he's gonna end up seeing Whip very late, and so he won't have really a chance to, make a Zealot first and try to mess with his gasless expand. And now he's gonna show up here and see that everything's up and running for Whip, and that feels bad a little bit.
Yeah. So I actually don't really know how the openings sort of pan out, like in comparison to each other. How far behind are you if you go like 23 next against Rax Expand?
Oh, I mean, I think a Protoss would be better suited to answer that question. But honestly, you're not that far behind. Like I said in one of the previous games, I think you just go Reaver and you harass, and the Reaver harassing usually works pretty well when you go Gasless Expand. So you'll keep the Terran in his base for a while, and then meanwhile you get your third base, without being too greedy, of course, because otherwise you can get punished pretty hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I guess I should have framed the question as like, how comfortable do you feel as a Terran in that position? I don't know if you go Rax Expand yourself, but...
Oh, I dabbled, but these days I don't really use it. It's it can be very vulnerable to forward gate zealots, finding you first. It's just such a feel bad moment. But like I said, when it works and you go unpunished, you feel good. You haven't won the game by any means, but you feel pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. I can imagine it would be just hell to play on ladder, where you face just like the cheesiest Protosses on the planet.
Yeah, for sure. We see Whip going for 2 factories pretty quickly. So I think we're pretty obviously going to see tanks come out with Siege and force the Protoss back, and then we might see the double upgrades here. Maybe they're both Vulture upgrades, and then we'll see Vultures come out with speed and mines really quickly, and maybe catch Red Duck off guard once, the tank pushes these Dragoons off the bunker. Meanwhile, Red Duck looks like he's thrown up a few more gates. I hope we see a Reaver from him. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, I was going to ask, since we see the 3 gates rather than the 2 gates that we saw Boa make in the earlier PPT, do you think he's actually just going for heavier Dragoon into a quicker third?
I guess that's a possibility. I mean, I'm not sure if that's as good. I mean, I'm pretty sure that the preferred path is to go for Reavers, but yeah, it looks like it's a 633rd Nexus. It's gonna be tough for Whip to do anything about it, except maybe, like I said, Vulture Harass might be the way to go here. You see the natural is still wide open. That third base is gonna be pretty wide open as well. No, but it looks like Whip was just ready for shuttle play with the 3 Goliaths sitting there.
Yeah, that's interesting, and he is going for the relatively fast starport, so maybe he was just trying to also... Do you think this was just completely an anti-Reaver play, or I guess he doesn't have any scans, right? So it's not like he can deny ops.
Yeah, I'm not really familiar with this kind of follow-up. I know you can go for drops off of Gas 6 Expand, but you get your starport very quickly, and here it's kind of like a... I don't know, for me it seems like it's a bit of an awkward timing to get your starport. I think it's too early for... I don't know if it's... Yeah, it's probably too early for the 2-1 upgrade timing for your armories, and it's a bit late because it gets spotted by the observer. So I'm not too sure what he's going to do with the starport here.
Yeah, it's already scouted, so it's not like he's going to have a chance to do very much damage, right? Unless Red Duck is just completely negligent.
Yeah, exactly. It's tough. If the dropship is spotted, I mean, goons are going to wait for it, and you might not know that, and so it's very easy to lose a dropship and not do a whole lot of damage. Plus, you can see Red Duck's base set up there. The Vultures can't get to the mineral line of the main very easily, as I think that's a wall that extends, all the way to the back. So it's Red Duck's really has a good setup, and I think he's kind of managed to get back into a pretty good position here.
And yeah, you kind of mentioned a little bit earlier that Red Duck's natural is pretty exposed, but I guess because he has so much map control and so much vision, like it doesn't really matter that his natural isn't walled off by pylons right now.
Yeah, he also has like all of his goons. I mean, a lot of goons just sitting there, so it would be hard for Red Duck. I mean, for Whip to do anything about it. And yeah, I mean, we can see it. Yeah, there's not even mine upgrades, so I guess he was going for maybe Siege and Goliath range. Maybe that's the two upgrades that we saw spinning earlier.
That's very strange. I don't think I've ever seen that kind of style before in PvP. Maybe it's just a really late game focused style now that he's getting his early third.
Yeah, I think like you mentioned before, I think he was just really expecting shuttle play, and I think he was kind of really counting on the shuttle to show up and walk in the range of 3 or 4 Goliaths with range upgrade that would just immediately take it down. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case, and I mean, it's not like Whip is behind or anything. I think it's just fine. He's getting his third. Yeah, I think we're in a really kind of standard spot now.
I guess I was also going to see Whip throwing out some vultures here, and they do get past, so this is a little scary, but yeah, we'll see how Red Duck responds to this. Should be fine. He has a cannon at his third. I was going to ask, the lack of a pylon wall at the natural, do you think that's actually like... I assume that would benefit if you're expecting the Terran to drop, right?
I guess so, but I mean, honestly, I don't see a reason not to get it. Honestly, I mean, you don't need all your pylons to be in your base to be powering up your buildings. You only just need a handful, really. So, I'm not sure why you wouldn't get it. So far, Red Duck hasn't been really punished for it. A dropship here on the way. So now, actually, this dropship. No, there's a tank. I mean, there's a cannon, so it's not gonna do a whole lot here, probably.
Let's see how it does in the main here.
Oh, but this is a good spot. Yeah, this is a good spot. He's gonna put a few mines here on the way, rather, and 4 kills already on the tank. It looks like he's gonna save it as well. So it looks like the harass is gonna continue. There's a cannon there though, so he might lose a dropship if he's not careful. Yep, saves it. Yeah, okay, good stuff by Whip. Also, you can range the third from inside the main. I don't know if that's a smart idea to drop the tank there, but looks like he's just gonna head over to this fourth and actually find... Actually, this is a really good spot. Yeah, nice. Behind the pylons, working against the Protoss here. This is gonna be annoying for Red Duck.
Yeah, that's the peril of walling off your base entirely, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can still fit Zealots in there, obviously, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, thankfully, Zealots can fit, and so he's fine. But it is possible, to catch the Protoss at a weird timing where he doesn't have enough Zealots. I mean, he doesn't have Zealots yet, and in that case, it's really it's kind of sad to see the Dragoons have to kill a pylon to finally get the units inside.
I don't know though. He did get like an okay amount of probes, but he's still way behind in supply now. Do you think that drop is even worth it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, I just noticed the difference in supply. It looks like Red Duck was really focused on his macro, and Whip might have been a little bit distracted by other stuff because here comes a huge attack, and I don't know. I mean, there's oh my god!
Wow!
Oh my god! Amazing storms everywhere. There it is. There's the Protoss attack, and yeah, I mean, Whip. I think maybe he took us there a little bit too slowly, and maybe he got a little bit sidetracked, with the harass and all that, because he's floating a little bit, and the supply discrepancy is abnormal, to say the least.
Yeah. Generally, I mean, you expect Protoss to be at maybe like 20 to 30 supply, but they're ahead to like 60 supply. I'd be kind of nervous this turn.
Yeah. Something. Yeah, Whip really slipped up here, and he dropped the ball, and Red Duck was really just focused on his macro the whole time, because honestly, I mean, his macro was nuts. I mean, he went up to 170 at like 12 something minutes. I mean, that's very good.
And wow, he's taking another mineral only. I'm wondering if that's just because of the surplus of gas, or he's just kind of like, whatever, I'm so far ahead, I can just do whatever I want right now.
Yeah, that's just a whatever expansion. I think he's just, he threw up an expansion just in the, while doing his attack and whatnot, and he didn't really care about which one he was taking here. Yeah, I mean, Whip is in such a bad spot. There's no worse feeling than falling back to 2 bases as a Terran.
Yeah, I mean, you lose all your tanks like that, and you don't have a third cast yet. Like, how are you even going to come back? You have to sit there making tanks for so long, while Protoss can just do whatever they want.
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, he can't come back from this. I don't think Red Duck is gonna. I don't think Red Duck is experienced enough to not let him back into the game at this point. Whip might be getting kind of like a false sense of hope, as he scouted the bottom right 2 bases, the main and the natural, and he saw no bases. So maybe he thought, oh, okay, maybe Red Duck was a little bit kind of all inish in his attack, but that's not really the case. As like we said, he's taking a 5th at the mineral only here.
Yeah, I mean, miracles can happen when Terran gets up to 3/3 upgrades, right? But
yeah, but I don't think he's gonna get up to 3/3.
Yeah, probably not. If he couldn't hold his third before him, doesn't look like he's going to be having a good time holding it now.
Yeah, he gets a couple probes, but in all honesty, at this stage of the game, I think you'd rather have the vultures than kill 2 probes out of 75 probably. So
yeah, I mean, Red Duck might actually want those probes to die anyway, just so he could have a stronger 200.
Yeah, he certainly doesn't mind, that's for sure. So meanwhile, Whip is gonna go try to take a 3rd up here. Red Duck just has to go, and I think the game will be over. I mean, no amount of setting up, putting mines, turrets, tanks sieged up, kind of sparsely sieged up, is gonna be able to save him here.
I mean, he does scan the army, so he knows it's coming, but
yeah, he knows the game's about to end, I think.
Yeah. But he is very well set up, to be fair. But yeah, like you said, maybe not necessarily enough.
Yeah, I mean, Red Duck's being, he's playing extra carefully here. He's just moving around. Honestly, he could just throw all these units into the Terran kind of meat grinder and just end up, like clogging the machine up, and the machine will just explode on its own. Yeah, he's being quite respectful of Whip's setup here.
I'm actually surprised he hasn't tried taking another main yet, because it would just further twist the knife to get set up another main and then get more gateways set up.
Yeah, I wonder if it's on purpose, just to kind of elude Whip's scouting, maybe, just to give him a false sense of hope. Because there's really no need to hide your bases in this stage. I mean, Whip can't push. He can maybe sneak some vultures around, but okay, here we go. Here's the attack. A good D matrix, gonna go down instantly though. A couple storms so far, not the best, but now they're catching a couple of tanks in the back, and the zealots are just freely running into these tanks. And this is just rinse and repeat. Tank count is getting reset, and even if Red Duck loses so much of his supply, it's a big loss for Whip here.
Yeah, that was. I mean, I think that was about as good as you can expect from Whip, right? Like,
yeah,
he cleaned it up really well. Like that was so many zealots. Oh my.
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely held that pretty well. That being said, well, he's on 4 bases now. Actually, yeah, he's taking this mineral only back, and this is, well, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Interesting. Maybe Whip is back in the game now.
Do you think? I mean, because Red Duck is kind of a little bit on a back foot now, but he has such a huge bank. He's going to be able to remax relatively quickly. I mean, like I said, I would like him to have another main right now, but I don't know.
Yeah, and now actually, I was kind of questioning trading these a few vultures for a couple of probes a couple minutes ago, but now, it's the Whip special of finding these bases, or rather these probe transfers, and picking them off. Red Duck's economy, I think, is far from being in shambles, but I think it has taken a significant hit, and you can see he's not remaxing very quickly. He's only at 148. Whip is up to 124. These numbers actually look not too bad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. It would be absolutely insane if Whip was able to come back. But...
Oh my god.
Wow.
Oh god, Whip, he's doing it. He's coming back, I think.
Red Duck, it seems like he's just not replenishing his goon numbers. He's like extremely zealot heavy, isn't he?
Yeah, so I mean, I think, you know, Protoss players, they like to rebuild zealots because they, well, they build faster and they run pretty quick, so you can get them to reinforce very quickly. But the Dragoons are a vital part, not just for clearing mines like we see right now, but the Dragoons are basically immune to vultures. Well, I mean, that's a stretch. There's a bit of bias there, but the Dragoons are an essential part as well. So hopefully Red Duck does rebuild a few. Hopefully he does get some High Templars back. And maybe he should consider getting some Arbiters, because you can still get Arbiters even if you have Storm.
Yeah, it's kind of like the trap that you see in ZVT sometimes when Zergers go like really ultra heavy early Hive builds, and then they just stay on the ultras without defilers for like the entire game, even though they you know, like you have 4 gases now, you can throw some defilers in there. But yeah, just kind of tunnel visioning on that initial game plan that you have.
Yeah, and we caught there a little glimpse of the covert ops, and it was upgrading, so we might just see some nukes into this game very shortly. And well, there's the storm drop. Oh my!
Oh wow!
That was sick. That was
absolutely devastating.
Yep.
Did we see the kill count on those High Templar?
I mean, do you need to? I mean, it's pretty much all of them.
Like 30 SCVs, 30 plus SCVs. Oh my gosh.
Yep, that was huge. That, I mean, this game is swinging in both players' favor constantly. Shuttle going down, who cares? All the SCVs are dead, honestly. Man, this game, honestly, it's pretty crazy. It's hard to tell where it's gonna go.
I mean, I think Red Duck is still in a pretty comfortable lead. He's finally taking bottom right, so he's going to get gateways up there. It's just going to make it that much easier for him to remax when he throws away his army again into the Terran Meat Grinder, and then it's going to make it easier in case Whip ever manages to actually push out. Like, he's going to be able to make units from another base.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, that storm drop, I mean, it really propelled Red Duck back into a comfortable position. That being said, Whip is trying to take the top right, excuse me, and it's a bit of a sneaky expansion there because he doesn't really have the map control to justify taking that base just yet. But maybe Red Duck won't realize, he has these Whip rather has these vultures running around that are going to cause a little bit of trouble, and Red Duck might end up just chasing them for a while and not realizing that Whip is taking another base. And Whip also now on 3-2 upgrades, I think. Oh man, just barely missing that transfer. Yeah, but Red Duck's kind of sitting back, and Arbiters. It's in this situation that you can see that Arbiters are very useful, for their recall and their ability to attack into a Terran army that's just sitting there. Sometimes Storm is, as we see a recall coming in, Storm is nice, but you can. Oh, does he get the lockdown? The lockdown. There it is. Oh man. Oh
that
baby.
Perfect.
Oh my god.
Vision of the Arbiter that whole time with that just perfectly placed mine. So
what a god.
Wow, you love to see a plan come together.
Yeah, really nice play by Whip. Honestly, it's this game is pretty sick. Honestly, Vulture is still doing some work in the middle of the map, and Whip, 170 supply. I mean, he's gonna get ready to really, maybe not attack, but really take some map control. Right now he's stuck in the top left corner, but if he can kind of secure more of this area that we see right now, then he'll be in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, absolutely. This really is an absolutely sick game. I mean, regardless of who wins, I hope we actually do manage to see a nuke. Is he just using those for lockdown, or is he actually going for nukes?
I haven't seen a silo yet, so maybe it's just for lockdowns. But right now we have Red Duck kind of committing pretty hard to this attack here, realizing that there's no real defense for Whip, and Whip is kind of scrambling his tanks up the ramp, and this is. The Zealots do evaporate eventually, but there's so many more Zealots coming in, and just pure tanks heading up this little ramp. Oh man, what a night. I mean, geez. Jesus, what a nightmare right now for. Oh my god.
How are you even supposed to deal with this as Terran if you don't already have, like, I guess ideally Whip should have had a few tanks and like a depot SimCity blowing that off, right?
Yeah.
But if you get caught like this, like, do you just sacrifice that base? And so Whip is like counterattacking now.
Yeah,
But,
I think you do exactly what you see Whip doing. You're just like, well, you know, I mean, you've already lost the base, so you know. On the other hand, Red Duck went pretty far into a kind of like a dead end, right? He's not gonna get out the same way. I mean, he's not gonna get out the other way. He's gonna come out the same way. And now, actually, kind of running Zealots in with nothing, and Whip is not sieging up, which is really smart here. He's gonna take out a lot of Zealots, and the Ghost, yeah, yeah, the Ghost has 2 kills. Yes, he does deal a lot of damage to the Red Duck's army, and a little bonus mine there at the end. I don't know, man. Whip might actually take out this base. Meanwhile, like we mentioned before, the top right is still going for Whip, and this is key because otherwise he'd be dead. And now he takes out this base. He might take out the 3 o'clock. The supplies are close. I don't know, man.
yeah, I mean, surprisingly, Whip hasn't taken that gas at that top right though, so he's really like gas starved right now. And Red Duck still has a gigantic bank, and he has those gateways set up in the second main now. So I don't know. Like, I think this is just going to run out of steam fairly quickly, and Red Duck will be able to sandwich this army from both sides.
Yeah, you're right that, you know, yeah, we see Red Duck supply kind of shooting up, but on the other hand, Red Duck's position right now isn't very good. I mean, look at where Whip is. I mean, if he sieges up those 2 tanks on the high ground, attacking into this would be terrible. This attack here by Whip with 2 tanks, I mean, already doing so much damage, and Red Duck, I mean, it's kind of like annoying to go and get those 2 tanks. They're so far away, and now you see Red Duck, I think, you know, a little punished maybe for those kind of maybe dubious Nexus placements.
Yeah. I mean, how many bases is he on right now? So he's on 2 mining bases now that is it 3 o'clock is offline. Not like the comfiest position, although he does still have like 3,000 minerals. His gas supplies are starting to dwindle, and even though he's very well upgraded, Terran is at 3-3 right now. So regardless of what your upgrades are as Protoss, this is absolutely terrifying to attack into.
Yeah, but it looks like, oh man, I don't know if Whip kind of overextended a little bit. He went towards the bottom right. Not only, I don't know if he needed to do that. Now the Zealots come in, do a lot of damage. The Vultures kind of rush back to help the tank, and a couple of nice lockdowns on some Dragoons. Why not? Try to help. Yeah, I mean, he might have overextended a little bit here because he's gonna get cleared out at, I mean,
yeah.
If not now, I mean, just in a few seconds here.
And Whip hasn't been able to replenish his tanks because he finally took the top right gas, but he only has 1 SCV mining on it. He just got 12 o'clock back up. Now we see Red Duck is fed up with these lockdowns. He actually got hallucinations, so yeah, Whip is going to have to play a guessing game of which arbiter is the real one. Yeah. Most likely he's not going to figure it out, and I think this might spell the end.
Oh my
god,
you're gonna get it though.
Oh my
what
god.
A god,
wow.
man! What a god!
It's incredible.
Oh holy sh! My god, that was incredible. That was so good. Honestly, that was so good. But yeah, I mean, Whip's still a bit in a tough spot here. Oh my god, mines connecting in the back. But yeah, like I said, Red Duck has a little bit too much here, and Whip definitely overextended. I would have liked to see. I mean, obviously hindsight's 20/20 always, but you know, I would have liked to see him kind of back up and just take the top right and kind of just settle there for a while, because taking out 2 bases was pretty big. It was huge, and I think he could have sat back after that, but instead he loses a lot of units here, and now the top right's completely undefended, and Red Duck's maxed out. Yeah, I mean, Whip's in a tough spot now.
Yeah. I mean, Red Duck is going to get up pretty soon. He'll be able to get on 3 mining bases, but I don't know. I mean, if Whip can kind of like just hold the line here, I think he might be able to come back now that he's on, you know, a couple fully saturated gases.
Yeah, if Red Duck, I mean Red Duck, I think is always a bad fight away from letting Whip back into an equal position. But is it gonna happen? There's a couple ghosts here in the
He's
mix.
very. Yeah, this is.
He needs to lock down. Oh, it's just a second too late.
Yeah, I was going to say they aren't very well split, so it's going to be vulnerable to storms. It's going to be vulnerable to stasis. And it's not looking good.
Yeah, there's just a little bit too much right now. It's a shame. Whip really put up an incredible fight this game, but there's just too much. Yeah, the Protoss army can't be stopped at this point.
Yeah, it's a shame. Absolutely insane play from Whip. It's kind of a heartbreaking loss, honestly, but yeah, really, really well played by Red Duck as well.
Yeah, Red Duck really a big focus on the I mean, it really shows just the power of having a really solid macro, because a lot of Red Duck's plays didn't pan out. He got the big drop at 12 o'clock, but his recalls are getting denied, and he's losing probes left and right, and his expansions were a little bit questionable in questionable locations. But there's one constant, is his macro, right? He's always macroed up a huge army, and I mean that's a big strength as a Protoss player. It takes you very far.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, everyone always says it to new players, macro, macro, macro. It's the most important part of Brood War. And it's true. If you just have more units at every stage of the game than your opponents, regardless of how bad your micro is, you're probably going to win.
Yeah, and we see Whip just desperately trying to do what he does best, which is pick off workers. And, he's doing it again. He's doing it well again, to his credit, but yeah, it's too little, too late. One base, this is about to mine out. Main and naturals are gone. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't blame Whip for staying in the game here, because he's had it's just been so insane so far. But yeah, like you said, if he had just taken a step back, and got his, second, third gas up and replenished his tanks after he killed those two expansions, I honestly think he probably would have won. But yeah, like you said, also it's hindsight is 2020. It's really hard to make those decisions in game.
Yeah.
Look at all those.
Oh my god, what a!
I don't think I've ever seen that many Arbiter stasis before.
Do you think Whip is gonna lock down the right Arbiter?
I mean, there is kind of a tell, right? Because it's the one on the edge in the back. Yeah, so maybe.
Oh no, nothing has enough energy. Oh my god. Well, I mean the recall is gonna go off, but at least Whip has his army present to kind of deal with this pretty quickly. So it might not be the best thing by Red Duck, although at this stage, like I said, doesn't matter a whole lot, I think.
Yeah, I mean, nice job defending that.
Yeah, just a handful of, just not too many Protoss units, and 3-2 mech, and we can see, all the difference that being on time makes when you want to hold something like this. He was up the ramp quickly enough, and you can deal with the recall pretty easily, I would say. That being said, I mean, he's nowhere near back in this game just yet. He needs to, I don't know, he needs to make some magic happen, honestly. The CC is slowly floating back towards the top right. Couple Protoss units getting caught. Hopefully it doesn't burn down if it ever makes it to the top right again. But yeah, I think this might be it.
Yeah, finally GG called by Whip. But wow, what a game!
Yeah, that was pretty incredible. A lot of amazing moments there, that's for sure.
That makes me wish we could see more TVP, honestly, in North America. It's a matchup we don't get to see very often because we have so few Terrans. But yeah, wow. Yeah. That was really long. I need to take a short break, so I'm going to be right back. All right, sorry about that. I'm back. And it looks like we're going to get into game 3 shortly. Looks like Whip chose Ringing Bloom, the modern version, the newest version with the gas third right outside of the base. Can't say I'm surprised, honestly. It's got to be tearing heaven with that extra gas.
Yeah, it definitely feels good to have that third gas. That being said, that kind of pocket, that back pocket natural, you can get dropped there, and it feels bad, obviously. So we'll have to see. I don't know. I don't know if Ringing Bloom is a very popular map amongst foreigners, at least. So maybe Whip has something prepared, and maybe Red Duck isn't. Hasn't really prepared anything for this map, especially in PvT.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're rolling the game right now. Let's see the positions. Okay, so top right we have our Purple Terran Whip.
And in the top left, it's Red Duck playing Protoss.
So yeah, like you said, I do think most foreigners aren't like huge fans of Ringing Bloom. I know it's probably one of the more popular ladder bans, but by the same token, I don't know how invested these two players are in the Korean scene, but I do know they are both Korean-born, as far as I know, and they're fluent in Korean. So they do have access to, sort of a depth of knowledge that isn't available to, non-Korean English speakers or foreigners, right? Rather. So, yeah, maybe Whip has some crazy special build plan for Ringing Bloom.
Yeah, he just might, and I think it's a good point that you were making about these players kind of having access to an easier access to kind of Korean knowledge of StarCraft. As we see, Red Duck, I don't know how much he plays PvT. I mean, I guess it's the race he picks against Terran, but he's already doing the Templar shuttle style of play, which is quite recent, and I think on ladder. Some people do play it, but a good amount of people just go for the good old Arbiter first and don't really bother with Storm and shuttles and all that stuff. So I think it shows that Red Duck is definitely he's keeping up with the times.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing to note about the positions here on the map, I mean, it's not necessarily like a deal breaker, but it is kind of beneficial here for Whip that his pocket base, like you said, is kind of facing away from Red Duck, right? So he'll make it a little harder for Red Duck to kind of fit a drop in there if he tries to do like a High Templar or a Reaver drop. But yeah, maybe it's not a huge deal.
I mean, I think you're definitely happy to see that you're kind of away from your opponent. Let's see if did Red Duck see it? Looks like he hasn't seen it. Whip is going to show up here, but yeah, Red Duck is going to guess just from the SCV timing that Whip is in the top right, since he didn't see the SCV coming from the... Oh wait, oh no, never mind. Okay, he just went to check for proxies. Okay, I guess that makes sense as well. Okay, so he's going to check. He might just go to the bottom left and then go to the top right. That's I guess a reasonable assumption to make. Meanwhile, Whip does get the first cutoff, sees that it's 12 next, but he has no intention of rushing this, as he's getting his natural expansion on his side.
Yeah. So, from your perspective as Terran, how when both of them go for extremely fast expands like this, how does that usually pan out? Is it kind of just even?
Yeah, I mean, I know I've said this a couple of times already, but maybe a better player would be able to just give you like a detailed response. I mean, for me, it's fine. The Protoss goes for a 12 next. You go for a gasless expand or 14 CC, even if you're a little bit risky. You're feeling all right, honestly. It's nothing bad. That being said, there's a Zealot heading over, and Whip didn't see it, so I don't know if he'll play a role. I mean, he has a wall anyway, so I guess he doesn't really care. But he might want to put a bunker up there. I think that's why he left a little bit of space to have a bunker in front, so that if a Dragoon shows up, no Dragoon range though. Robo first, so it looks like Red Duck is just very openly going for probably reverse, I'd like to say.
Yeah. I'm surprised he even made the one Zealot. I mean, I guess it pays off in terms of getting a little bit of scouting info, even if you don't do any damage, and then you can include it in the shuttle later on, right?
Yeah, I mean, Zealot first is so, I mean, there's so little downside to getting it, to be honest. Like, it always ends up doing something at some point in the game. So, yeah, I like this. It scouts, it sees what's up, and not that there's much to see from Whip right now.
Yeah, and I assume with this build too, it kind of lines up in terms of like getting your core a little later. You're just going to have extra gateway time to build it before you start Dragon production. I was just initially thrown off because I figured like almost every Terran is going to go wall on this map, right?
Yeah, I think there's very little reason not to, especially since you can go. Since a Protoss could possibly go, proxy gates, double proxy gates in the middle, thinking, oh, you're gonna go for a 14cc or a gases, and I'm gonna rush you with Zealot. So having the wall here is nice. Also, you can get the wall a little bit risky to let the racks, but you get the nice wall where the Marine pops inside your base in almost every location except the top left. So, I mean, it's very. Although, you see, this bunker is behind the supply depot, but thankfully the tank pops out in time. Usually, I think the bunker would be in front, but the Zealot showing up might have bit of ice cream there. The Zealot might have changed the Whip's mind.
Yeah. For sure, it looked like he was planning on putting a bunker out front there, but I guess that is a pretty good benefit of making the Zealot, right?
Yeah. Honestly, there's no downside to making a Zealot. That's a hot take, but really, you should just get the Zealot every time.
Fair enough. I'm sure most players would agree with you.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, yeah. Okay, so that being said, shuttle's on the way. I assume there's a Reaver in there. Gonna make its way across, and we'll see Red Duck. This is very typical. You time the Nexus at the same time as the shuttle shows up, as the shuttle with the Reaver keeps the Terran on the back foot for a little bit. Let's see how Whip deals with this. It's gonna fly in. There's no Goliath?
Yeah, he does have turrets at his natural. Surprisingly, not even one in his main though.
Yeah. Oh no. Okay. Well, he lost one. Yeah, no Goliath. I thought we were gonna see. I thought we would see kind of like a similar opening from Whip as last game where he got early Goliath. Oh god. Oh god. Oh, this is not looking good. It's one kill, but I think that's just because it doesn't update when the Reaver is in the shuttle. Oh man. Oh, this is bad.
Yeah, doing a ton of damage. I'm honestly surprised because Whip was clearly prepared with the eBay timing, and he already had turrets started. But like you were saying, the vulnerability of that pocket base, maybe he thought that was like the only thing that he really needed to defend because it was such a juicy target or something. So
yeah,
he kind of neglected the rest of his base.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the case. I mean, honestly, you can protect the pocket base, but again, if there's one opening anywhere, the shuttle gets in, and you don't have Goliath or anything like that, then you're in for a world of hurt, and that's what we just saw there with taking a ton of damage. Honestly, it's a little bit. I don't want to call it just yet, but it's not looking good.
Yeah, and what do you think about this timing push?
Oh, I think he's just going because he knows he can't go for a late game anymore. I mean, he lost so many workers. He just wants to try to win right now. Maybe there's an opening, but Red Duck has enough, and well, he's rallying more units. He might be able to do something. We'll have to see. I don't know.
Yeah, that's. I know it hurts to lose that many SCVs early, but yeah, I don't know. I don't see this desperation push doing much.
Yeah, especially since he's sieging up here. You need to keep going if this is gonna work, but I think he's gonna settle for a contain. I mean, I understand pushing up the ramp into the main and everything is a tall order, and maybe just the contain might be enough if Red Duck takes a couple of bad fights. Let's see what happens. A couple of zealots getting dropped. The Reaver in the middle of everything gets a Reaver shot off. It's gonna get dropped again. Now it goes down. There's a few Dragoons left over, but there's just one tank left. That's not enough. It's gonna go down. Oh man, I think Red Duck just pulled off the defense here.
Yeah, I mean, Red Duck is just. There's really no missteps for him here. Like, he held off that attack. Maybe he could have traded a little more efficiently, but I think he traded just fine. And then his third, he realized that he didn't want to take the closer third to make it that much easier for Terran to push. So like Terran just has no way he's ever going to kill that third from Red Duck. And he's just he's not in a great position right now.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, Whip's in a terrible spot, and yeah, he's getting turrets, and I think that's the last thing you want to get right now when you're so far behind in macro. I mean, you'd rather just have a third command center on the way, but at the same time, he wouldn't be able to hold it for very long, I think, if he was trying to get a third. But
are those even upgraded with speed, or are those slow rollers?
Oh, there's no mine.
Okay.
Oh my god. No, yeah, no, they don't have. Yeah, they just got speed now and no mines, and my god. At least the Reaver takes 2 shots. Doesn't get a. Wow. Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad at all for Whip. That's as good as it can go, I think. Still a significant amount of supply behind, and no third base on the way, I think. So, man, I don't know, man. It's tough. Tough game.
Yeah, it's not looking good for Whip. It's kind of disappointing to have this series end in this fashion, honestly, after the game we saw on Polyport.
Yeah, I agree. There's the third base. 11 minutes and 30 seconds in. Yeah, I mean, I think he's just gonna try and take it, and Red Duck will just move in, and I think that'll be that. There's so little to do.
This kind of reminds me of like a lot of games I'll play on ladder, for example, where I will get in a tough position, and then I'll do what Whip did, and I'll try to go all in just because I know that I'm at a disadvantage, but then like the all in fails, but then I try to like start making drones again, but it's just like half measure both ways. Like if I had gone completely all in, I would have done better, maybe won, or if I just start making drones again like immediately, I would have done better. But like it just feels like Whip didn't really have a plan, and he was just like panicking when he lost all those SCVs and got behind.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think he was really trying to win with the push, but then it didn't work out. He lost too much, and then Red Duck kind of he killed off the push, and then didn't really kind of try to capitalize even more. So now we're kind of in this awkward state where Whip's again, he's in a really bad spot, but who knows, maybe he'll pull off some sort of magic again. I mean, we saw him just now kill a few probes. I mean, quite a few probes actually. It was actually pretty good harass, but he's still so far behind that I don't know if I mean, there's so little hope, to be honest.
Well, this should do decent damage.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Honestly, Whip always finds ways to like deny bases and kill workers. I genuinely don't know how he does it. It's honestly like it's almost suspicious, to be honest. Like finding these little places, getting the harass in, even though he's so far behind. I mean, I respect that in a way. If you're gonna come back in this game, it's by doing little things like that and hoping that they snowball enough to get you back in.
Yeah, definitely. Earlier in the series, I mentioned, you know, I would be a huge fan of playing TVP in like the kind of turtley, just like hit your timings sort of style. I think Whip's style is like the antithesis of that, where he's just constantly looking for openings. He's constantly dropping, you know, looking for, you know, vulnerabilities to do like timing pushes that, you know, aren't necessarily just like the normal 2-1 or something. Just trying to like exploit any weakness that you can find. And I really respect that. It's a really fun style.
Yeah, yeah, he's finding a lot of damage, and that's, yeah, like you said, it's the complete opposite of kind of just playing SimCity in your base and hoping you can make it to 2-1 or 3-2 and just kind of like roll the Protoss in one fell swoop. Drop ship play a little bit here, a couple of vultures. So good, man, honestly, picking up a couple of stray high templars, but looks like Red Duck is undeterred. He's gonna attack, move in here. There's a few mines he eats, all of them, doesn't matter. Drops the high templars. There's 4 of them, 4 storms. That's gonna rip through everything. Oh man, yeah. No, I mean, it was hopeless to begin with, but now the command center is taking a bunch of hits.
But still not giving up though. You have to admire the gumption, you know, of just staying in game until there's literally no hope at all.
Yeah, yeah, he's trying really hard, man. The harass. Oh man, honestly, man, that's really good. The mentality, always looking for opportunities. It's really good, and also he getting a high temper, man. Honestly, this is incredible. This is incredible play by Whip. He's really on top of things, even when things are all terrible all over the place. See, will the dropship go back in? Yeah, but no. Now Red Duck's ready for it, and yeah, I mean, again, it's like Groundhog Day, man. We're stuck in a loop where the Whip kind of barely holds on and gets some nice harass, but at the end of the day, he's still significantly behind.
Yeah. I mean, I was going to say like the negative side of like the style that it plays is when he fails to get an early advantage, it fails hard. But at least, even when he fails hard, he's still showing us really fun games, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. His style is definitely super entertaining in TVP at least, and in TVC from what I've seen before. Well, he's amassed like a decent army, and again, maybe we'll see Red Duck kind of throw his army away a little bit, you know, carelessly or maybe out of frustration into a well-entrenched Terran position. Maybe that's Whip's ticket back into this game. Still just 3 bases. Red Duck's still on 4 bases. I mean, it's not completely out of hand just yet. So, I don't know. We'll have to see as Whip now moving out onto the map a little bit. Gonna try and maybe get a 3rd base going. 17 minutes in. Let's see.
Yeah, 17-minute 3rd base. I'm not a TVP expert, but I don't think that's the timing that you want to aim for, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can say that again. All right, let's see. Red Duck, he's poised to attack again. All right, here we go. Zealot's running in. They're gonna eat a bunch of mines. Man, I mean, Whip's position here is pretty strong. I mean, I know a couple storms can't pick them off just before getting a storm off, but you know, again, I mean, look at this. Whip is gonna hold this, right? There's too few Zealots left, all gone. 1 good storm, not enough. Oh no! The 3rd base. Oh man!
Oh my! Whip is actually ahead in supply now.
That's insane. Oh my god, dude!
That was literally the worst possible arc to attack into for Red Duck.
Honestly, man, this game though, like, I mean, oh man, I don't know what to say. I feel like Red Duck is doing just exactly the same thing. I feel we'll just end up seeing the same game again as the one we just saw before. Whip now pushing out. Man, this is, you know, like you I don't know, we didn't talk about this, but you know, Whip from his 3rd base to the Protoss 3rd base, it's just a couple of screens, and he's already here. And
yeah,
does Red Duck have storms? I mean, he's gonna need something to bust through, because that's actually a lot of tanks. So Oh my, what the hell? What's going on? How is Whip? Two D matrices, but oh man, Storm,
But
tank
his
splash.
tank spread is really, really good though. I feel like
Yeah.
this is his best chance, honestly.
Yeah, this is actually pretty sick. Honestly, I don't know what's going on anymore, man. Like,
Yeah, you don't see TVPs like this every day.
yeah, definitely. Whip on top of his macro and his reinforcements coming in. The vultures are really are so clutch right now. Just zoning those zealots out. This base is gonna go down. The fourth is most likely gonna go down. This base not up and running yet. I don't know, man. Whip, Whip is just magically in a really good spot again.
Yeah, that third base at 9 o'clock, like, he only needs to send one tank there, right? It can just shell away from that pylon wall. And
Yeah.
the rest of his army can just continue to, like, twist the knife. Red
Yeah.
Duck.
Absolutely. And man, bleeding a couple of zealots there. Whip still retaining a about 10 supply lead. More mines. Is just amazing play by Whip. I mean, I'm really impressed by how he sticks. He stuck. You know, he stayed in the game this whole time, and as soon as he gets an opportunity to come back in the game, he pounces just perfectly. Right, takes out 2 bases. He's ahead in supply. I'm sure he's going to be looking for this base in the bottom left corner. Red Duck now in just a terrible position, like a kind of, you know, a contain, going for these high templars, gets 2 or 3. All right, not too bad. Baits out a lot of storms as well. I don't know, man. I'm really impressed by Whip, honestly.
Yeah, it's hard to commentate this because, like, I've really almost never seen, at least not in, like, recent years, I've never seen a TVP like this, where, like, it really is impressive. Just the fact that Whip has stayed in this long, and like you said, you know, manages to pounce on the opportunity right when he sees it. Like, most Terrans would have left like 10 minutes ago.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the drop.
Oh wow!
Oh
Oh
my
my god!
Like I said, man, it's Groundhog Days. That's like the 12 o'clock drop that we saw last game, taking out like 1 million SCVs, and now Red
That
Duck
is
is like
insane.
30 supply ahead. Oh man, that's a back-breaking move right there.
Yeah, so I think this puts Whip on even more of a timer than he already was on. Like, now his economy is just in complete shambles, but he is dropping here. Unfortunately, I think it's going to be cleaned up pretty quickly by this army that Duck has amassed at bottom left.
Yeah, it's not gonna. I mean, it's a cute move, but on the wait, hold on, 4 tanks now. Okay,
At the same time, yeah, it's actually trading pretty well, and these goons have to go into that tight choke, but it's getting cleaned up by storms a little bit. You know,
Yeah.
the thing is, like, now Red Duck is only on 1 mining base, and even though Whip lost so many SCVs, he still had a bunch of SCVs from his main. I think maybe he can transfer some still that are just mining on like 1 patch, but he's dropping
Yeah.
again. If he can shut down this last mining base from Red Duck, like, it won't even matter.
the storms, he gets 1 storm off, but oh man, if Whip can hold this position and prevent mining at this base, a couple Zeds, they're gonna run in real quick, can't get a mine drag, they go on top of the tank. Oh, the tank was already battered from the storms and goes down. Now 4 vultures, there's a tank, can he take it out? He's gonna go for some probes, it looks like. Gets quite a few of them. There's a shuttle, I don't know what's inside.
He's getting the probes. I don't think there's anything in the shuttle. Like, honestly, this base is just an island for Red Duck right now. He can't exit his main.
Yeah, crazy. There's so much air traffic, drop ships and shuttles, probes being ferried in. Vultures at their front, gonna knock down this pylon. The pylon's gonna go down. These vultures are gonna get in. Where did that D matrix go? Oh, there you go. All right, cleaning out this base. Yeah, the vultures did get in. They're taking out a couple of probes now, just AFK hitting the. Okay, here's a big attack. Oh my god, there's too many tanks, right? There's too many tanks.
There's definitely too many tanks, right? Yeah. I mean, even without any vultures, they're so well spread out there. Yeah.
Oh my god, man! I think has Whip done it?
Whip did it.
Oh,
Red Duck
G.
GG's.
GG. There we go, man. My god, I can't believe this. Whip getting back in the game, winning it 1-1. Incredible, honestly.
What a fucking series. Holy shit, dude. That I don't know. I mean, I think I feel like there has been some great series so far in the round of 16, but I think that might be the best one so far.
I think so. It's definitely it's so close. I mean, both players are kind of really evenly matched. Um, some incredible back and forth. I think as much as we've been talking up Whip for staying in the game and whatnot, I think maybe Red Duck needs to kind of reassess a little bit his approach to the matchup, because he gets into really good positions and then he manages to if throw it away or almost throw it away sometimes with some not questionable attacks, but attacks that just end up in a disaster for him. So maybe he needs to chill out a little bit and just play maybe a little bit more standard, get some arbiters, get some bases, secure your bases. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I agree completely. Like, it's really easy to tunnel vision in Brood War and just try to like push your advantage in terms of like attack, and just try to like kill when you get a big advantage. But I think it serves almost everyone to like play patiently and try to take a step back after you get a huge advantage from like one attack, and just think like, how am I going to push my advantage? Not only like just kind of I think Day 9 actually had like an old podcast where he addressed this topic, but just like take more bases, like continue getting your tech lead, and then there's no way that you're going to be able to like just throw units away to the extent that you'll just die. Like, if you just push your advantage in that way, like economically and technologically, then there's not going to be any route for your opponent to beat you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
If you just keep attacking, and you keep taking inefficient trades, then your opponent has a route back into the game.
Yeah, I agree. I think Red Duck definitely suffered a little bit from that. From that problem, maybe thinking, I'm so far ahead. I mean, what does it matter if I trade kind of inefficiently? But you have to be careful, because if you throw away everything and the Terran has too much remaining and he gets up in a good position before you can rebuild your army, you can end up in a lot of trouble. By the way, I see Boa's in the game. Was that game 3? Have I forgotten?
That was game 3. Yeah.
Okay, I just completely forgot the existence of
Whip 1-2-1. So now we'll be. Whip is actually, he requested a short break, which I don't blame him at all after a series like that. But in a few minutes now we'll be jumping into our final best of 3 here tonight. Boa against Whip.
What was game 1 then? What happened in game 1? I don't even remember anymore.
Oh, okay. So it was on Eclipse, right? Whip ended up going after getting his gas stolen.
Yeah. The Marine. Oh, okay. Oh man, that was a sick game. How can I forget that game? Oh my god.
It's been quite the series.
Yeah, this series was incredible. Actually, that was definitely the best series. Yeah, I mean, wow. Okay,
yeah,
well, I've lost my mind. Hopefully these players haven't lost their mind, because they're about to play for the last spot out of this group into the round of 8. Boa versus Whip. We're back on Polypoid. Let's get into it.
Yeah, both players are ready now. We'll be jumping in the game in just a couple seconds.
All right, in the top right, it's Boa as the purple Protoss.
In bottom left, we have our Peach Terran Whip.
So, Boa versus, Boa as opposed to Red Duck. We can assume that Boa here is a bit of a favorite. But can Whip actually win the game? despite despite the odds, I think being stacked against him here.
I mean, I don't know, man. Like after a series like that, I feel like Whip, first of all, I want Whip to win because that was just some of the most entertaining play I've seen and just the most insane comeback that I've seen in quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
That said, I mean, I think Boa is probably the more experienced Protoss player out of him and his twin brother, and so maybe he won't make the same sort of mistakes. I think he's definitely the stronger player out of the two. He was by far the favorite as far as I was concerned to make it out of the group first.
Yeah,
so it's going to be an uphill battle for Whip, but I'm really excited to see what happens.
Yeah, Boa definitely probably more experienced, but also, I mean, he just watched. He presumably watched the series against Red Duck, right? So I think he knows exactly what to expect from Whip. I'm not sure to what extent he's gonna customize his play to Whip's style now. Maybe he'll just stick to his guns and play his regular PvT style. And also, I mean, Whip must be a little bit tired, right? I mean, he played some pretty crazy games, but they were lengthy, and so maybe now there's a little bit of fatigue as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, dude, I know a lot of these players, like, they're very active and stuff, but it definitely has to take, like, not only a mental toll, but just a physical toll, just, like, sitting there, just playing your heart out for that long.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. We see an interesting wall that actually I've never seen, despite its apparent simplicity here. Gonna wall out, keep the probe away from his base. We see that it was just a regular gas opening, and he took off the SCVs off gas, so he's just gonna get a factory and gonna just spare a few Marines. Meanwhile, Boa, I think there's a bit of cheese going on at the 9 o'clock as the probe did not go back to base, and I see 2 dots there. So let's see what Boa has in store here.
Yeah, so
I mean, Whip sees the block with 2 zealots, presumably, as a Dragoon is probably not out right now, and you gotta be very suspicious. I mean, especially these zealots just hanging back, doing nothing. I mean, I don't know.
You can kind of maybe there's a little bit of question in the back of his mind because he scouted his wall, so maybe he could think to himself like, okay, he's just not being aggressive because there's the wall.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but I mean, making the zealots, you would always walk the zealots across the map. If you scout a Protoss and he has a zealot sitting on his ramp, something's up almost immediately, yeah. Unless it's some sort of incredible fake. But
I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here.
Oh yeah, I mean,
sure,
yeah.
Probably.
And I mean, we see what's up. It's going to be a lot of some proxy DTs. Whip, interestingly, going for starport. Oh man, I don't know how any of this is going to line up, but not seeing seeing the zealots like that should have set off some alarm bells, and hopefully he's getting an engineering bay because time's running out and DTs are going to show up soon.
I mean, by the same token, it's like you probably should be like super suspicious, right? But I mean, first game in like this final tournament series, it's kind of an oddball build to throw out, right? Like proxy 3-gate DT.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely a weird build. I mean, the eBay, dude, it's late, man.
Too late.
The DTs are gonna come out any second now. You can build a turret real quick, and he has a wall. Oh, okay, he has a wall, and so he might even have seen. Okay, well, I mean, okay, now he knows. So he's gonna bring his SCVs. Hopefully, he brings his SCVs quickly enough. Repair the depot, bro. Oh man, you need more than one. Oh god. Oh god. I don't know, it's not looking too good, man. A Wraith is out. I don't know what good that's gonna do. Man, the turret's almost up. But no, man. I think. Oh god.
Ouch.
This is not looking good.
But
I mean, yeah.
Vultures in the main, yeah, that's
You
good,
can
that's
kill
good.
probes, but at the end of the day, what are you gonna do against the DTs? Oh wait. He has a turret. Okay, he did get a turret up. Okay, so that's the bare minimum to survive this. Hopefully, Whip can not lose his. All right. Well, the supplies are kind of even, so that's not bad. The DTs are gonna still be able to do some damage here. So that turret doesn't cover a whole lot. Man, I don't know.
Is he clear now with those mines? I mean, I think he's okay, right?
Yeah, he's fine. He's not gonna die, that's for sure. That being said, Boa is taking his natural, and Whip, it might take him a long time to be able to take his natural back. He doesn't have an academy. I mean, maybe there's an academy beneath the... No, it's just starting now, so it's gonna be really hard for him to take his natural back. He has to basically leapfrog turrets, and that's not really... I mean, it's gonna take a long time. Meanwhile, the dropship is heading over there with those 4 vultures. They're gonna get a lot of damage in, but you know, 2 nexuses up. Whip's in a tough spot.
But yeah, I mean, these vultures are going to get a lot of pro kills.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, hopefully he... Wait, there's more stuff in the dropship then.
Is Whip just... Or is he just dead now?
Well, yeah. It looks like maybe he took too many units out to harass. That pylon doesn't block, it doesn't matter. Yeah, okay. Whip took too much and tried to gamble on the drop, but it's not going to pay off. He's going to lose everything in his main, and yeah, you can kill as many probes as you want here, but at the end of the day, the DTs are just, you know, yeah.
Wow, what a brutal loss, dude. Brutal loss.
Yeah, tough. That's a tough loss. I'm not sure what Whip was thought seeing the zealots there, kind of holding the ramp, and 2 zealots. I mean, 2 zealots. I don't know. I feel like that's very suspicious, but his SCV kind of came back a little bit too late and didn't get to see the lack of a nexus quickly enough, and so his eBay was a little bit late. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Maybe a couple more SCVs on the depot might have been enough to hold cleanly. And yeah, like he said just now in the lobby of the next game that he should have pulled more SCVs. And yep, it's true.
Yeah, so next game on Eclipse. Yeah, Whip took no time at all to decide to jump into Eclipse 2, so hopefully he has something special planned here. Really, I mean, yeah, like we said, he's already the underdog, and losing game 1 in that fashion has to be pretty demoralizing, especially after playing such a crazy series against Red Duck.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were gonna do the intros, but Boa jumping the gun a little bit here is he's the red Protoss in the top right. We have Whip in the bottom left as the blue Terran. There's a probe out, and it's 30 seconds in, and it's almost in Whip space. So it looks like we're gonna have more cheese on the way with a quick pylon, and we're gonna have probably a gateway soon. Man, Boa, he's not in the mood to play long games, it looks like.
Yeah, and I don't know if he's fed up with just like the length of his own series, but I feel like one thing I will say, I mean, I'm not the most experienced tournament player myself, so maybe more competitive players will disagree with me, but I actually really like the concept of playing like this in tournament games, because you know your opponent is going to have probably like very specific strategies planned for all their games. And, you know, they might still have a good general concept of how they're going to deal with whatever cheese you do, but like regardless, if you do stuff like this, you're going to throw them on the back foot. and you're going to essentially like invalidate all that preparation that they did for like, you know, whatever standard game they were expecting.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually. Yeah. That being said, if you know, if your cheese gets scouted, you could be in a lot of trouble. Although, you know, proxy gate Zealot is pretty strong anyway, as Zealot will show up and probably deal some damage regardless of whether the Terran knows it's coming or not. Especially, you know, at non-pro gamer level. So a gas was stolen. That's not the end of the world. Hopefully Whip gets another depot over there to the right of the barracks. And yeah, he's going to be able to micro against the Zealot. Yeah, it's going to come down to control. Let's see if Whip can handle this Zealot efficiently enough and not fall behind too much. Oh, and you saw, I think you just saw the Zealot, right? With the kind of lingering vision of the SCV. So yeah, a couple of SCVs come out already, and they're ready to kind of protect the Marine. Let's see the control here. He's hitting, he doesn't get the Zealot. Really nice control. The Marine has to go in. Oh my god, barely escapes. Probe finishes off the SCV. That's nice. But so far, decent control by Whip. He's gonna fight the Zealot a bit more. Nice control.
Really nice control. I mean, it's hard to fight Zealots with just 2 Marines, right?
Oh yeah, it's really hard. No matter how many Marines you have, honestly, it's really hard to deal with Zealots. He's gonna take another fight here. Okay, keeps the SCVs alive. You want to be careful with your SCVs. One thing is that you need to keep your SCVs alive as well. It's not just a question of, you know, getting your Marines to kill the Zealots. If you lose too many SCVs, you're gonna be just as behind. So good play so far by Whip, really impressive. Now he's taking out the gas. He has 5 Marines. 2 of them are close to death, but a 3rd Zealot. Let's see what happens here.
But yeah, I mean, Whip is right in position here as well. He's going to lose 1 Marine, but still, most of the Zealots, like, the healthiest ones still lost all their shields.
Oh god.
No.
Oh, go.
Putting the more vulnerable Marines on the outside really hurt, but yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard to control your Marines with that much finesse, and oh my god, another these Marines, man, they're not helping with at all, and he's still take his assimilator. It's I don't know, man.
It felt like it went from way in Whip's favor with the Marines versus Zealots to way in Boa's favor now. He has so many Zealots.
Yeah, and you can see, I mean, Whip's been making non-stop Marines, and his control overall has been pretty good, but Zealots are just so strong. They regenerate their shields as well.
Yeah, and Boa is being very disciplined for the most part with these Zealots too. When he starts taking too much damage and when the Marines fall back, he falls back.
Oh man, another Marine. Yeah, it's tough. Microing these Marines is really tough. Even if you have the wall, it's incredibly difficult. And now a Dragoon's out. This is just going to deal with the Marines so well, and Templar Archive is going to come down very shortly here. Whip trying to get the bunker. That's really nice. If you can get into the bunker now, like right now.
like 10 seconds ago.
Oh my god, get in the bunker, bro. Okay, well,
another Marine, but yeah.
It's, I mean, honestly, it's tough. You know, when you're just looking at stuff like this, you think, oh, I mean, why is he not, you know, why is he fighting?
Why is he not doing the perfect thing? Because,
yeah, I mean, it's incredibly difficult.
It's a hard game.
Yep, yeah. And he got his command center going behind on the high ground. That's really nice. He's not gonna go down right away. His factory must be on the way, but now it's another cheat, and I'm not sure if he's aware.
Yeah. He's just started his academy, and DTs are on the way.
Oh, he has eBay.
Halfway through.
Yeah.
Okay, so he does have a bit of a wall here. And eBay is pretty quick to build.
Yeah. It's about 42 seconds or something like that, and the turret is about 17. In total, it takes about a minute once you start your eBay to have a completed turret. And yeah, you can see. Okay, Whip knows. Whip knows. This time he's ready for it. The turret's on the way. This is perfect. This is gonna be crisp control here.
The thing is, though, he only has 1 Marine in there, and he only has 1 SCV blocking. He's just getting his factory up.
Yeah, but Yeah, see, Boa, Boa got spooked there. He took a little bit of damage. He's like, oh no, I can't. He has a turret already. Oh no, and so he backed up. And this is like you said, it's very fortunate for Whip because that DT probably could have ran in anyway, or he could have just jammed all of his units up the ramp and killed the SCVs and stuff. And
What
maybe...
I'm thinking. Oh, sorry, go on.
No, go ahead.
Oh well, okay. So I was going to say like, yeah, maybe he could have jammed his units in there and gotten lucky, but even if he doesn't, like the factory is so slow from Whip, right? And Bo's getting his naturals already finished. Meanwhile, Whip is still kind of turtling, making this turret ring. He's just paranoid. So even without doing any damage at all, isn't Boa still way ahead?
I mean, yeah, but I mean, look at the supply. Look at the massive amount of SCVs that Whip has. Whip is ahead a couple of supply actually. Like he must have been really diligent with his SCV production from both command centers. And sure, I mean, his command center is in his main and not at his natural. But soon he's going to be able to move down. Hopefully he has scans, right? We saw, I think you mentioned he had an academy. So he'll be able to move down, set up a couple of... Oh, that's really nice.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
what a god,
that's
honestly.
amazing.
What a god. Like, he knows everything. Yeah, and that's the tricky part, trying to leapfrog turrets. It's tough. He has a scan. He needs enough units to be able to kill the DTs, though. And then he needs to set up the turrets. And then he'll be in a kind of okay spot.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, once he does manage to get control of his natural, it'll be huge. But like, we see here he's just making another comp set because he knows it's going to be like a slog to kind of finally break through there, right? And
yeah.
Bo's getting up to 4 gates. I'm guessing he'll be taking his third shortly.
Yeah, in fact, I was kind of praising Whip for his response there, but he might have overcommitted a little bit to the defense right now because there's a lot of turrets and there's so many SCVs now. He needs his natural right now. He needs to lift that command center and get it to the natural and get his second gas. He's still on 1 gas because you're right. Right now, I think the supplies are still close, but that's because Whip has 50 SCVs.
Yeah, and does Whip even have an armor yet?
I hope.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, he does. Okay, it's not bad. If you have your upgrades going, and you can kind of get to the late game, it's good. It's fine. Your upgrades are really key, and thankfully he has them running.
Yeah, I was going to say if his army was that late and he didn't even have upgrades going, I wouldn't be having him as a favorite to win here. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, it looks like Boa is gearing up to take a third base here, throwing down the Nexus before anything else. Yeah, with a couple of vultures out on the map, and we know what kind of damage he can do with his vultures. I'm not sure if he's gonna find anything just yet. Hopefully he keeps in mind the bottom right bases, but he might get there when there's a pylon wall up, and that's a bad feeling.
It is pretty sneaky taking your third there. That's definitely not like the typical place where Protoss would take their third. Especially given like Whip's proclivity for drops.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. Yeah, I think Boa is just banking on just being sneaky. As we come to know Boa, I think his PvT is quite sneaky. Oh man, barely doesn't scout that.
Yeah, he keeps like getting just so close to scouting that expansion, but then he just barely misses it.
Honestly, maybe he's waiting for the probe transfer, and he's like, no, I'd rather. Oh god.
Oh my god.
The shuttle DTs. He scans. It's just a couple seconds too late here. Yeah, and he was building a turret at the bottom there, so yeah, unfortunate. Poor timing by Whip there, but Boa kind of, making use of his DTs even at this stage of the game. Stargate's up. We're gonna see an Arbiter tech, maybe? Maybe not. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, so a very typical follow-up. When you go DTs, you know, you're already so close to getting Arbiter, so why not just get your Arbiters out?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But, you know, I would kind of, honestly, you know, after such a dirty opening, just going like 2 base carrier or something would also be pretty entertaining. But yeah,
yeah,
not necessarily, you know, something that synergizes with his build.
it would definitely be on brand for a Protoss player to do that. But Boa kind of playing a little bit more standard this time. Whip with a really nice setup. It looks like Boa is going to try to force the issue anyway. The turret goes down. I mean, the shell goes down to the turret. Is there enough? The Zealots have evaporated. There's 4 tanks. Is that enough? Oh my god. It's going to be close. If Whip can get some reinforcements in real quick, maybe he might be able to hold this.
Wow.
That's tough.
After taking so much damage on the shuttle and only getting a couple of Zealots drop from it, God, I thought he was going to clean that up.
It was honestly very close. You know, 2 more tanks, and I think Boa gets absolutely wiped. Oh man, that's a heartbreaker. Seeing a couple of units just not participating in the fight, they were just a screen away. I mean, those three vultures could have made a huge difference in taking out the Zealots faster, and you know, having less splash damage on your tanks, and then your tanks can clear up the Dragoons. You know, it all snowballs pretty quickly, and now Whip's turret is gonna get denied here, and it's a pretty feel bad moment. Yeah, he sees the vultures now, and I mean that's really annoying, I think.
Yeah, it's really rough. I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
But well, you know, I mean, it's not looking good for Whip, right? But he's still not that far behind in supply, and
yeah,
you know, we've seen he's already proven that, you know, we can't count him out regardless of what happens in the game. So
we saw the probe getting picked off. Can he? No! Wow, Whip gets it.
Yeah,
again.
He wasn't able to continue.
The Whip classic, honestly. Every single time gets the probes, and the probes are escaping. But now, yeah, they're escaping from the safety of the cannon just to go out, and they will get picked off. And Whip says Zia gets out of there with his vultures. Eats a couple mines with the Zealots. Oh man, Whip, honestly, he's oh man, I don't know what to say, man. Every time he just comes back, he takes kind of like a beating early on, but comes back with some really persistent, smart, surgically precise harassment.
Dude, I mean, Whip is like the little kid in Home Alone, where like he just keeps setting traps for people, even though he's like severely disadvantaged, and they just keep like stumbling into like, I don't know, like, you know, a paint can going down a stairway or something, and like slamming you in the face as you're trying to like finish him. It's actually insane.
Yeah. That is a very apt metaphor for what's happening here. Whip is definitely, yeah, he's definitely playing against a, you know, a big bully here, and he's making he's getting punched in the face from time to time, but he also has very sneaky, smart plays that are keeping him in the game. And first Arbiter out, not quite enough energy for a recall or a stasis just yet. Supply is relatively close still. So these probes have had enough. Oh, there was some harassment going on. Okay. Whip needs to set up his third though. He's been flowing that CC. He's finally landing it just now. He needs to get his third going, and I think he would actually be in a. Wow, look at that SCV blob. It's so bright. There's so many SCVs in there.
I love the shadows when they're that stacked. It's like, it's just pure darkness underneath the like 20 SCVs that are stacked in one location.
Yeah, trying to force the issue here with a few vultures. I'm not sure how good of an idea that was. The mine does explode. A few zealots and give their lives to eat a few mine. Oh god, again. Every single game, man.
Oh no!
Jesus! Oh god.
He transferred into the storm. That's tragic.
Yeah, that's rough, man. It feels like Red Duck is playing on Boa's account, and it's exactly the same game as we've seen with Red Duck. I mean, you know, Red Duck kind of throwing, getting an advantage, then throwing it away, and then getting it back with like a massive storm drop at the third, yet again. Anyhow, I think Whip is still pretty much in this game still. Just maybe 3 supply behind. Not too bad. Boa supply block somehow.
Yeah, I mean, all things considered, I mean, he's actually not as at much of a disadvantage as he was
There it
against
is.
Red Duck in most of the games, right?
Yeah, and there's the drop.
Oh, and
How is that? How is that not in range? My God, what is
Amazing.
going on?
amazing? First of all, yeah, like I can't believe it's not in range. The camera.
Yeah, but okay, Boa coming in here. He can't beat Whip's army, I think, but he can deny the third, which is annoying for Whip. He really needs to kind of have a third and have it kind of locked down, but right now forced back again. Storm just getting one tank, the rest is invulnerable. Arbiter going deep now, gonna go down, but man, Boa, and you can see, I mean, it's no surprise really, right, that Boa has pretty much the same style as Red Duck, just very violent Protoss attacking over and over. It's doing damage, but is it good enough though?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's like a battering ram. Like he just, I mean, I guess that's just how Protoss usually play, right? But
honestly, I don't know, man. Like, Boa and Red Duck are both excessively violent in their PvT. I can tell you that much. They're just a lot of Protosses will just sit back with their main army, clear mines, and then they'll harass you with shuttles and whatnot. But Boa and Red Duck, they like to fight a lot, and I mean, it's worked for them somewhat, but sometimes, you know, you can see they take questionable fights. Anyway, in this case, I mean, Boa is now a little bit ahead. I think mainly due to the fact that Whip hasn't been able to get his third up and running cleanly. There's the legendary tank that's gonna siege up in a safe spot again. Gonna start shooting down some probes.
God, what am I even watching? I don't even know anymore. Is it still StarCraft? I don't even. I actually don't know anything about StarCraft.
Yeah.
This is making me question everything.
Yeah, this. Oh my God, this makes no sense. I mean, Boa's just gonna counter with the recall. I mean, it's a good recall. It's gonna deny the third, and this is really taxing for the multitasking though. If Whip can clean up the third, Whip can clear out his third. The tank went down. The vultures are still up. Or maybe it's saved in the dropship. Yeah. If Whip can take his third, and I know I've said this before, like 5 minutes ago, if he can take his third and hold on to it, he would actually be in a pretty good spot because he's done a lot of damage to Boa.
Yeah, absolutely. It does look like the steam is running out a little bit now. He's only at 100 minerals. He's on. Okay, yeah.
Oh, that's too bad, man. GG.
Like half of base mining. It's hard to come back from there. Yeah, heartbreaking loss. Really amazing series, but Boa takes it 2-0.
Yeah, good try by Whip. Definitely someone to keep an eye out for future events, and I think he's definitely won a lot of fans.
Yeah, absolutely. That definitely. I think the series of the round of 16 for sure. Whip against Red Duck. I wish more than 2 people could have gotten out of this group, man.
Oh yeah, definitely. Those were some really incredible games.
But yeah, we should have Boa joining our voice call here for an interview shortly. I feel like Boa is the person that we've interviewed the most on our Rogues Gallery events because he just always wins.
Yeah, you tend to get interviewed if you always win. That's for sure.
Anyway, what's up, Boa? First of all, congratulations for being the final entry into the round of 8 in RCR. How are you feeling?
Hey, well, I'm doing alright. Just I'm still disappointed in my loss against Tai 2.
Yeah,
but I mean, he did play really well, and he's very unpredictable. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
go on.
I'm just glad that I pulled it off today. So
yeah, for sure, it's got to be a huge relief after that. Yeah, I mean, first of all, I mean, I'm sure and most people myself included, would have considered you the favorite going into the Tai2 match. But yeah, I mean, I've said from the beginning that like Tai2 is, the epitome of a wild card. Like he can literally beat anyone because he's insanely unpredictable and he's super smart about the way he plays. How do you feel about that series in general? I mean, do you want to go through your thought process in the games? Like what really caught you off guard?
Well, especially the last game. If I want to talk about the last game first, just that two links just pissed me off, and then I know I had to build cannons as soon as possible, but then I don't know what's going on in my mind. It just threw me off. So, but overall, because he's very unpredictable, I was gonna just play more defensively, but then he still has many ways to attack me. So just I guess I kind of underestimated because I don't know any of his playing styles, so I wasn't expecting what kind of play he was gonna do. So, and the first game, I can't really recall how I played, but oh yeah, the first cannon rush wasn't really successful. So at that point, so I knew I was already behind. So yeah.
I have a question about the first game actually, because I thought, first of all, I feel like your bread and butter opening is gate fast expand, and I think that's also really good against Tai2 to just kind of like tax his mechanics and multitasking a little bit and be aggressive early. So I was wondering why you did choose to go forge fast expand in that first game.
Because I just wanted to play more defensively. I guess maybe like he can also do like full drones, full pull attack. I don't know what kind of play he does, so I just wanted to play safe. But I guess you're right, because I'm more used to playing gate expand and just zealot control. So I should have just I don't know why I changed my tactics the last game, but I mean the last minute. So
fair. No, that totally makes sense. Wanting to play defense against Tai2, but yeah. How do you feel about the rest of your series? I mean, you went undefeated PVT today, so you must be feeling pretty comfortable about that. I know you played the All-Terran group in BSL, so you've probably been playing your PVT quite a bit.
Yeah, so I guess I did some practice for my BSL that helped me a lot too. So, and obviously playing against my brother, so I already know his style. So that I didn't have to really worry about too much. So, and also I actually play a lot with Weep. So yeah, for my practice game. So I wasn't too worried about the PVT. Just and when I think about it, because I don't have to play against Crossy or any other. Actually, I don't know how you guys match up the round of 8s, but since I'm the second, I don't know if I can still play against Crossy. I don't know. How does it work?
Wait, Crossy. Oh,
I think we don't know how it works, but I think we're gonna find out after this interview. So
yeah,
stick around.
Okay, yeah. So
around a bit after, but I'm not sure that you can match up against Crossy.
Oh yeah. Never mind then. Yeah.
But I believe that you're probably only going to match up against the one of the first place finishers. But super well played. Do you have any more questions, Ninja?
I was just wondering, how were you frustrated at all by Whip's harass? It looks like he was getting vultures and tanks in all the spots where your cannons couldn't reach. It seemed really, it was actually pretty incredible to watch.
Oh, you mean the last game?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I know he can harass like at a perfect spots anytime. So it didn't really piss me off that much, but I knew that he was doing what he could do best. So yeah. I guess playing against Tai2, that 2 links pissed me off more than that dropship, to be honest.
Those 2 links were absolutely insane. I mean, I thought Tai2 was completely out of the game because his first he made a lot of lings and they didn't do very much. But then he got those 2 lings in there with speed, and it absolutely won him the entire game. I can definitely. I feel like as a Protoss, I would have like ling PTSD after that, and just like never want to let lings through my whole head. Actually,
sure.
question comes to mind about that game. So you did make a shield battery in your wall. Was that something you prepared, or just something that you did kind of in the spur of the moment because you're paranoid about early ling damage?
Yeah. So it's something that I just did some spontaneously because I knew I already killed a drone, and then I was a advantage position, so I knew that I just had to defend. So that's why I built the battery shield.
Let's see.
But yeah, I don't think I should have built the torch first. I think
Anyway, you played super well tonight. You completely destroyed all the PVTs. Do you have any other questions, Ninju?
Who do you want to play in the next round apart from Crossy?
Oh, actually, to be honest, it doesn't matter who I play against because I'm here to win the tournament. So even playing against Zerg, I know I was very disappointed in my game today. So I just have to practice a lot more and then just increase my chance of winning. So I think there are a lot of Zergs left. So most likely I'm going to play against Zerg, if I'm not mistaken. We don't have any more Terrans players left, right?
Yeah, I believe it's like five Zergs.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much all. Well, I mean, there's Dragon, but I think he plays ZVP.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's either PvP or ZVP, and most likely ZVP. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
All right. Well, yeah, I hope to see you win in the round of 8, and keep going. Your PVZ is always a pleasure to watch, and as were all your games tonight. Thank you so much for playing, and congratulations again.
All right, thank you, and sorry for disappointing all with my bad play today.
I wouldn't worry about it at all. All right. Well, yeah. If you'd like, you can stick around because we're going to do the round of 8 draw right now. But yeah.
Yeah, so round of 8, group draws. We saw the list. I mean, like we just mentioned, it's mostly Zergs, right? There's Models that's left. That's a Protoss player. Boa's the other Protoss player. I mean, Dragon plays ZVP.
Yeah, Dragon mainly. He's. I think we can consider him a Protoss.
Yeah. Of course, yeah. He's gonna play PVZ. Yeah. So a lot of Zergs, a lot of Protoss. Let's see what's gonna happen. I'm not too sure what the procedure is. Well, looks like Hawk is gonna go to match number 1. Who's gonna join him? Well,
okay, so I guess we're doing, match 1, match 2, match 3, match 4 will be the first place of the respective groups.
Right. Yeah, sure.
So yeah, and then we'll be using a random number generator to decide how the the rest of the second place finishers end up. Obviously, we won't be throwing the second place against the first place of their round of 16 group. That's the sole exception.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Some nice random number being generated.
Yeah, right. So Tim just reminding us, like I said, we will not have the second place of their respective group playing the first place of their respective group.
Yep, keeping it fresh.
So that means, for example, Hawk won't be playing Cross.
Let's see here. Do we have Michael?
Okay, so looks like Michael against Hawk in the first match.
Gonna be a pretty entertaining ZVZ, that's for sure.
Boa against Striker in the second match. Crossy against Models in the third match, and then Dragon against Tai 2. So, okay, I mean, first of all, we're not looking at the brackets here, but by match 1, match 2, we're looking at it from the top down, right? So, winner of Hawk versus Michael will be against the winner of Striker versus Boa in round of 4, for example. And then, vice versa for match 3, match 4. Right off the bat, we see Tai2 against Dragon. So just,
he got his wish.
He got his wish, and this is just kind of like a dream matchup, honestly. It's one of the most like storied matchups in all of North American Brood War, I think. I mean, these two have ran into each other like time and time again in tournaments, and I feel like they're pretty evenly, footed in terms of the results. But yeah, I mean, Dragon is known as kind of like first of all, they're both kind of known as like more cerebral players, but Dragon is kind of the opposite of Tai2 in the sense that he's very slow and methodical, whereas Tai2 is kind of like the chaotic, Zerg player. So really interesting matchup there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. It's going to be really, I think, like you said, they're evenly matched, in some ways similar, in other ways completely different. I think it's going to be really entertaining to see.
Yeah, and then as far as the other matches go, I mean, Hawk against Michael. Michael, he was, along with Tai2, like, he was really, really good in the kind of like dark ages of Brood War before StarCraft Remastered came out. I think that was when he mainly made a name for himself, but he was absolutely a top foreigner during that time period. And he's just recently coming back into shape. I know he's been grinding a ton of games for BSL. So really interested to see how he plays against Hawk. But I do know like Hawk is one of the premier Zerg players in North America, which is, a region known for its strong Zerg players. Recently, like knocking out True Touch out of the BSL qualifier. So yeah, I feel like Hawk is definitely a favorite there, but like really still anything can happen. Striker versus Boa getting his PVZ wish should be really interesting to watch. I mean, he has a chip on his shoulder now. He wants to show everyone, what he's really made of. And Striker, he's also one of the premier Zergs in North America, but just kind of getting into his groove, I think, with kind of, tournament nerves and everything. So yeah, I think both players are going to prepare a ton for this match, and it should be a pleasure to see.
Yeah, I agree. Bo and Striker, yeah, they were both top tier North American players. It's going to be very exciting. Yeah, I was just going to chime in also on Michael being a very top foreigner back in the dark ages there, but when there wasn't much Brood War going on at all. And yeah, I remember watching his stream, and he's a very, very sneaky player. A very good player, but also very sneaky. I think his classic build on Fighting Spirit was just taking the Terran's third base as his own third base. I remember definitely watching that a couple of times, so it's definitely going to be entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, how sneaky can you really be in ZVZ though? There's only so many builds that you can do.
Yeah, that's fair. That's true. And match number 3, Models versus Cross C. Yeah, what do you think about that?
I mean, I feel like Crossy is a heavy favorite there, but when Miles is in shape, he's definitely one of the strongest non-Korean Protoss players. So if he's taking it seriously and if he's practicing for Crossy, I mean, I would call him the underdog, but I'm definitely not going to count him out. I think anything can happen for sure. One thing about Crossy that I will note is that like, I mean, I love Crossy. He's helped me so much, and he's like one of my favorite people in the non-Korean scene, but I do feel like sometimes he kind of tunnel visions, and he's very, very aggressive in matches sometimes, occasionally to his detriment. So if Models can kind of like weather the storm and, just get to maybe like super late game without taking too much damage, who knows? It could go either way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a fair assessment of the matchup.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm all these matchups are going to be really, really interesting to watch. And yeah, after all the series in the round of 16, I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, the round of 16 has been a ton of fun to watch so far.
Oh yeah, it's definitely been a wild ride this whole month. Speaking of the round of 8, it's gonna start next month in just a few days. We have round of 8 on the 5th and the 12th of March. Round of 4 is going to be on the 19th, and we're going to conclude this whole thing on the 26th, always 8 p.m., always on Friday.
Yep. Anyway, I guess we'll be heading off, shortly. It was a long night, some crazy series, but yeah, it was super fun. If anyone happens to be listening to this, if you missed the Whip against Red Duck series, please go watch it.
Yeah, if you're a fan of Ghosts and very back and forth games, definitely the series to watch.
And just before we head off, I do want to plug, we have our Matcherino, which someone should be able to link in chat for this event if you want to contribute to the prize pool and, see more crazy epic North American Brood War series. Please consider donating to our prize pot for this tournament. And then if you want to support Rogues Gallery in general and, further North American Brood War events, please consider signing up to our Patreon. And thank you again, Ninju, for casting with me, and thank you, Tim, for observing tonight.